welcome you. From stores to conventions, we take you backstage, exploring figures from modern day to the Stone Age. Let's open those figures, we're drinking hand. Figures stand tall in a display so grand. Join the club, the fight is on. Action figures shine like the break of dawn. Collectors gather round the lounge, any drink will do in Figure Fight Club. We welcome you.
Well, I have Robo Don't Know here. Thank you, Robo, for joining the lounge.
How's it going?
Good. I appreciate you coming on.
Nice.
You and I spoke at Legion's Con. We got a quick introduction. I was surprised how down to earth you were, and I loved talking to you. Actually, it was actually really fun.
Oh yeah. We're in the middle of toys and more toys and more toys, and I like talking about toys. So
Yeah, 100%. So I actually had a few friends who reached out, or I reached out to them asking, do you have any questions you want to ask Robo? So I'm going to give a quick shout out to my old podcast. I helped start the Plastic Journey podcast, and they're the Plastic Journey, right? So they're going to ask the same question they asked all their guests. How did you get into collecting? Was it from childhood or as an adult? What is your plastic journey?
I think, oh man, action figures were whole life type thing. That's some of the first things I remember. Thinking back to early age, there was always toys on the floor somewhere, or in boxes, or and even trauma type thing. Because I remember vintage Star Wars, we were using a cardboard box as a Death Star or Star Destroyer or something. We had some Imperial figures in there, like a Darth Vader, and I can't remember what else. But my mom thought it was trash and threw it away. That's one of the memories of, oh, I got to make sure to put toys up where they need to go, or get them up out of the way so they don't into the thing. But it was always toys.
Okay.
As a kid. And one of my first, my own money, I spent on a mask figure with the green motorcycle. I think it's Condor.
Okay.
And then even up through junior high, whenever you're supposed to, oh no, toys, you're supposed to do older kid type stuff or whatever. But I had Ghostbusters and Batman figures on the wall on shelves.
So it was always since childhood. Then you never really left the hobby at all
until I graduated high school. Then the urge to be an adult kicked in.
Okay.
For about 4 years. That was in 93. Okay, it wasn't that many years because Star Wars came back in 95, 96, and I got back into those figures, and that's what avalanched into today.
Okay. So 95, 96 is I think that's the prequels. That's what kind of started it for you then.
That's the special editions. They brought Power of the Force 2 out with the big muscle Star Wars figures, and then they got better with the sculpts, and then into the prequels, and then I got out in for episode 2, because that's when Spider-Man Classics and Marvel Legends started hitting, and new scale.
Did you collect the Toy Biz, or it was just Hasbro?
No, Toy Biz from the beginning. I grabbed Wave 1 Explode from Toys R Us when they were still on the shelves.
Okay. So you took a break for about 5 years, and then you just kind of went back into it, and you're like, this is what I like to do.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead.
I delivered pizza and stuff, so there was the X-Men VHS tapes, and then they had some Star Wars stuff when that started kicking back up. So I didn't have a lot of access to TV at the time because I was moving around and stuff like that. But I tried to keep up. I had a buddy who kept with the comic books, so I'd read his whenever here and there. But as far as buying toys, I think I picked up the Toy Biz 5-inch Wolverine with the ring mask that you could wear as a ring or put over it, and then Archangel. For
Okay,
some reason, I had those, but it wasn't until Star Wars kicked in again.
got you. So let's jump into comics. So you're reading your friend's comics.
Yeah,
Uh, like what type of comics? Was it just like the like DC, Marvel, or was it like Star Wars or
Marvel.
anything
I was heavy
Marvel?
Marvel. I
Okay,
think early on I had some Star Wars comics, but from when they were with Marvel, maybe at the
okay.
first in the beginning. But then it was all Marvel. I may have read a couple of DC issues here and there, but I don't know. It was very oh, Marvel's so much better than DC. And then I got into DC later, but mostly if it was X related, I was all
Hmm.
over it. My brother bought, which helped. My brother bought Spider-Man, Thor, Avengers, Fantastic Four,
Okay.
and I bought X-Men comics, all the X-Men comics. So we'd read each other's
Just
comics.
switch them around, yeah. You
Yeah.
know, I personally grew up loving DC more than Marvel, and that's mostly
I,
because I was a big fan of Joker. I loved his character in the comic books, but I wasn't an avid comic reader. Like I would like my parents didn't really buy a lot of stuff for me, so they were just like once in a while they'll buy it for me, so I would just get random like stories.
yeah.
But again, I was a big wrestling fan though, so
I,
huge.
well, being at the comic shop and stuff, I'd see DC stuff, and everybody
Mhm.
knew. I mean, even if you didn't read it, you knew Batman, you knew
Exactly.
Superman. Yeah, especially from like Super Friends back in the day. It was
Hmm.
you were kind of versed in DC stuff, but it wasn't until later. I did get into DC eventually
Okay.
in the 2000s.
In the 2000s. Okay.
Yeah.
In a world of imagination, where heroes come alive, ISKCON's calling all collectors from far and wide.
You know, speaking of action figures now, what is your favorite toy line? Or I guess if you don't want to pick one, you could do multiple, of course.
Because it goes back and forth between Star Wars Black Series and Marvel Legends. Again, going back to early childhood was all Star Wars
Hmm.
and Marvel Comics. But I didn't have a lot of Marvel toys way back in the day. It was
Yeah.
Masters of the Universe, Transformers, and Star Wars.
Okay. Okay. Uh, Now, this is another question which I just thought of on the spot. For the Black Series and Marvel Legends, they're the same company that releases them, but they have two different, essentially articulation styles. How does that make you feel?
Mhm.
Like, do you think they should be kind of equal in a way to articulate, or do you like that they're different?
In a perfect world,
Hmm.
I would want everything same scale, same
Yeah,
articulation scheme, same peg sizes. That way I could, mix and match, customize. I'd have all kinds of fodder. But
yeah,
and then mix and match the shelves even. Here's Star Wars characters in my Marvel and over vice versa. But I guess at this point I kind of look at it as it's different design teams, it's different IP holders. They want things done different. So it, it just separates in my brain. If I had a preference, I'd go Marvel Legends. It
Marvel
just,
Legends.
yeah, it feels more modular
Yeah,
as far as parts go,
hmm,
and
I can see
because
that actually.
it goes back to the customizing.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. Uh, Now, I guess if you have the ability to do this, this is a very hard question. What would you consider your top five figures in your collection?
Oh man, right now I'm only counting because I have this new area at this
Hmm.
shop. I'm still bringing stuff out of the house. My main displays are still in my office in there, so I've
Okay.
been very picky about what comes out and what goes up on these. They're not even shelves; they're sound buffers, but they
Okay.
have a top on them, and I just throw figures up that I really 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 like, and even then it's going to be wrong. But the Mezco 1/12 Collective Crow.
That was my favorite movie as a child when I was
Oh
9 years
man,
old.
that's one of the that's I graduated right around there. That was one of the first movies I think I saw it 5 times in the
Yeah.
theater.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was one of the first movies I was like, I'm gonna go see it again because I wanna. The and they're all fairly recent too. I need to come up with the list, but there's the ramen toy Centurion, not Centurion's antagonist cyborg.
Okay.
The blue.
The blue. Okay.
G.I. Joe Classified Series Snow Serpent.
Okay. Snow. I don't even know which one that is.
That's the white. Yeah,
white,
with the
okay.
that's the snow guy. Again, that goes way back. I didn't have a lot of G.I. Joe as a kid, figure wise. I watched the cartoon all the time. But one of my figures that I had was the Snow Serpent. For some reason.
So you gravitate towards that. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't do vintage because I feel like I had those figures already back in the day. Done that. Don't need to do it again. But if something was near and dear back then, I definitely want it in an updated what I collect now
Yeah.
form. Oh man, what was that? 3?
That was 3 Mezco, the ramen toy, and then the G.I. Joe.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I've got tubs of toys at Star Wars Black Series Black Chrysanthemum and the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990 movie Donatello.
So why Donatello?
I don't know why Donatello is my favorite turtle. I can't name it. It's not the color. I will say that the bow staff is the easiest weapon to make whenever you're a kid. You know what I mean? You just grab a broomstick and you're done. My brother's name is Michael, so he was always Michelangelo, but it was harder to source nunchucks. So
you could have made them out of a string and like sticks.
yeah, and the sword was essentially just a shorter stick, and then the sides were even shorter sticks. So, but mine looked the coolest because it was round and thing. But no matter the line, I always seem to gravitate towards the brainy characters. Egon in Ghostbusters.
Okay.
There's probably more. I can't even think of it. Or the second in command, the like Man at Arms or Soundwave.
So
Soundwave's
like
the coolest
the smart ones, the intelligent ones, the
Yeah,
brainy,
yeah,
the brainy
yeah.
pack, the brainy of the bunch. I get that. Okay.
Yeah, for whatever reason. Again, I'm not quite sure why.
Okay. Another question. What does your toy space look like?
Right now, a complete mess.
I think that's every collector, though. Honestly speaking,
Yeah.
I mean, half of my shelves back here are like not done or they're like empty. You probably can't even see the empty ones. There's like the one Valorous figure standing over there, but even I have an entire room upstairs that's like my man cave, so to speak. There's empty shelves everywhere because this is all new, at least in the past like month and a half. So I've been trying to slowly bring stuff down, and I'm emptying out the bookshelves up there while also trying to do a nice display down here. Trying.
So you're working it as moving them into a clean area so you can dust the old area.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's how I look at it. Whenever I move stuff out here, it opens up a little space that I can dust right there. And
Oh no, I keep a duster in my man cave because those shelves after 10 days, it's dusty again.
Yeah.
And it's like, man. Yeah.
Mine's out of control because I haven't really moved them in a while. I've just been shoving more and more figures in, just to get them up and get them at least somewhere near where they're going to be displayed eventually. But it's become can't even see their feet, or you can't even see the bottom of the shelf.
I 100% understand that. 100%.
Yeah, there's a reason I do this.
Actually, that's very smart. This is my office for work,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm required to use my camera for all my meetings,
Oh yeah.
internal and external. So it's actually entertaining because when I do like my internal people, everyone knows I'm a collector, and they always look at. They actually enjoy looking at it. But when it's external and it's someone new, they're always
Yeah.
just like, "What is that behind you?" like,
Distracted.
yeah. So it's a good conversation starter.
Yeah. It,
So it works out fairly well in that way.
the bigger reason I use this is because my camera's already set up in front
Yeah.
for the video shoot. So, but it pulls double duty.
Yeah.
It's kind of,
No, I
yeah,
definitely
while I work
understand
on
that.
shelves. But the office is full. It's done. The shelves are all. In fact, as I move stuff out here, I need to. I have some shelves, but they're full of tubs and the big stuff,
Hmm.
and then another shelf rack that is full of customs and Playday type things or review stuff, and then I need another shelf over there. But I'm going to put some actual display shelves over here. It's a mess. That's that's the short answer. Is it's crazy.
No, I understand that. Another question for displaying now. Do you? I know you mentioned that you shove them in a shelf, so that's like I call that vanilla pose. So they're just vanilla pose in the
Hmm.
sense of they're not articulating or just kind of standing up straight, like right out of
Yeah.
packaging, essentially. But do you have any shelves where you're posing them, like in a like an action pose for a
I,
display?
I have most of them are vanilla. But looking
Okay.
right now, the Super 7 Ultimates Donatello is down in an action pose because he's in the front,
Hmm.
but he's flanked by like Mezco Hellboy and NECA Casey Jones and some GI Joes because I you just get more in a display like that. The more you pose
Yeah.
them, the less figures you can fit. And
That's very true. Yeah, I'm a big collector of wrestling figures,
mhm,
especially the older stuff. But like I have two bookshelves dedicated to wrestling stuff, and I was like, I could have a nice pose, but it takes up more space. But I'm just gonna shove them all the way to the back and just start lining them up. That way, they're just kind of.
yeah,
I kind of like make them off centered, so they're not like all lined up like in a line,
hmm,
but they're just kind of like standing around in a way.
like the back ones are peeking over shoulders. Just you can
Exactly.
see their
And like
faces. Yeah,
normally the taller ones go in the back, so like I could see
yep.
them. I know they're back there, so
Or you get some spice racks to kind of tear up a
yeah.
little bit.
I actually really like so back here I've been using the acrylic racks, which are really nice actually. A little pain in the butt to build them, but they've
Yeah,
been really nice to display. Yeah.
yeah, because sometimes you get those spice racks. They have like the rubber mat or they're
Yes.
flexy, and you try to stand them, and they just kind of blip, blip, blip.
Yeah, exactly. So I in my man cave I used to have those rubber mat ones, and they
Hmm.
started flexing over time, and I was like, this is not gonna work. So I had
No,
ended up getting new ones, and the acrylic ones work great. It's very stable. It doesn't move, so they've been working out well. And plus, you could shine lights through them, which is even nicer.
oh, I didn't even think about that. I got some of the plain white ones one time and spray painted them black, and
Oh,
I didn't know at the time. Man, black shows up dust really, really
yes,
way worse than the other colors.
yes, because my bookshelves upstairs are black, and I see the dust constantly.
That's in the office, probably the dustiest room in the house.
Now, I remember seeing in your videos that you are big into customizing. So, when did you get into customizing? And do you consider head swaps or kit bashing customizing? Because there's a fine line because I'm a kit basher. I don't paint. I can't. I'm
Yeah.
not good at it. But I will kit bash a phenomenal figure.
That's it, I feel like if you make any changes to the figure
Hmm.
that makes it
That's
different from how it came out of the package, that's a custom. That's
I agree with
customizing.
that actually. I'll go with that too. Because I know a lot of painters, obviously from the Mythic Legions,
Mhm.
like universe, and a lot of them. There's a big fight sometimes. They're like, "Oh, that's not painted. It's not a custom."
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I just was curious. So I guess when did you start customizing?
Uh, I want to say shortly after. Well, no, it wasn't too shortly after. It was a couple years after I got back into it in 96, 97, somewhere in there. Uh,
Okay.
98, 99. There was a well, and the internet was new. Well, it may have not been new to everybody, but it was new to Arkansas. So
Okay.
I started hunting around, finding the Star Wars sites, and then that even deeper dive was into customizing, people customizing, and it was like, you can do your own thing. You can make your own figures or change them up to how you want them, or make the characters that the companies haven't made yet. So
Hmm.
there was a list serve, an email back and forth called the Forgotten Force with, or I think it was part of Rebel Scum, but it was a bunch of Star Wars customizers, and that's kind of how I got into it. I was terrible. Well, I'm still not great, but I I tried, and and that's all you got to do. You got to just jump in. Uh, and I did that for a long time until again Legends came along.
Hmm.
No, in fact, before Legends even came along, there was another customizing forum, and we all kind of toyed with the idea of larger scale comic book customs. And
Okay.
there was guys that were good at it, and but at the time there wasn't a lot of fodder.
Yeah.
You were just kind of, you had to sculpt because you had to make changes to these base bodies that you were digging out of nowhere, just out of these toy lines that had nothing to do with comic book
Yeah.
characters. So
Yeah.
and then
That's
from
really cool.
there, Mhm.
No, I was just saying. So you did the painting, the sculpting, all that. That's how you started.
Yeah, I never liked the sculpting. I could never. I can't take what's up here and make it 3D.
Yeah.
Whereas with painting, I can go by the lines of the figure or the comic book or the costume. I'm
Hmm.
replicating onto a 3D surface, but sculpting is beyond me. I watch people do it, and it's just like, how'd you do that? That's amazing. So, but and that's the nice thing about doing it nowadays. There's millions of base bodies out there. And
Hmm.
so you can avoid
I
sculpting
mean,
for the most part.
today, I mean, I always tell like tell people when we have discussions about action figures, it's like we're in the golden age of collecting right now.
Hmm.
There's just so many options that are available to you, and then on top of that, like there's just so many things coming out. In the future that's just even more amazing stuff. Like this year, personally, I thought it was the year of the third party.
Hey,
Like 2024 was the year of the third party for me, just because you had so much amazing stuff come out that was
third
third party
party and
oriented.
smaller companies the past couple of
Yes.
years have just blown up. I mean, PowerCon last year was most of the floor. Well, the part of the floor that was displaying action figures was mostly smaller companies, and it was just like, hey, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? It's all over the place.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what's gonna happen in the future. Um,
I'm Zakaden. Check out the new hit show, Figure It Out, Thursdays, 9 p.m. Central, with me, Just Jeff, and Mikey, JMK Customs.
Speaking of like this, will kind of go into a phone and friend question. Are there any Kickstarter or prospect toy lines you're looking forward to?
I backed Brutal Legend, and there was another one I backed recently. Oh, I think Robo Skull's getting closer and closer to releasing.
Yes,
Uh,
I
yeah,
think some people are. Was it Robo? No, that was Skeletron. Skeletron, I think, started sending out messages for shipping notices.
yeah.
That was
Uh,
another new line that's out.
Man, what was the other one? There's been a few, and that's the thing about Kickstarter. Sometimes you wait a while, but that's
Yeah,
nature of the beast. we're used to it at that point. It's just back it and wait. Because Beasts of the Mesozoic, I think I've got a saber-tooth tiger on the way from them.
Oh wow. Okay.
And one I saw last week it was Space Zombies from Mars. It looks like it just fits in with the astronauts and the zombies kind of thing, or will fit in with my Monster Force stuff.
Yeah. How do you? What do you think of the Monster Force?
I'm liking Monster Force so far.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it picks up speed. I'm hoping now that they have the base bodies or some molds made, they can get quicker turnaround, because it's some of the future stuff that I'm more excited about. Because the first wave was just building the base.
Yeah,
But,
it's
man,
mostly army builders. Yeah.
yeah. And getting the leaders out there, the Forgotten King and Dracula and them. But
Dracula,
man, I want Donner Party and what was the other one? The Invisible Man homage. Yeah. Some of the future ones are more exciting.
I have it sitting in my pile of loot right now, but I haven't opened one yet personally, but I've seen
They're
a
good.
lot of people open them. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the consensus. Yeah, I haven't seen one person complain about it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, speaking of things that are coming out in the future, are there any action figures you would love to see get created that don't exist today?
I'm always a big cheerleader for sorry.
Oh no worries.
I had salt on cookies a minute ago. It's like I'm always a big cheerleader for Hanna-Barbera properties from the 70s, 70s or
Okay.
60s. I always forget what exact era it is, but I want Herculoids
Okay.
and I want some Space Ghost stuff.
Space Coast. Okay.
And it throws me off because Jada Toys has finally shown Scooby Doo, so that was a big one I always wanted in kind of a more articulated 6-inch scale.
I didn't know Jada Toys were doing Scooby Doo. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, they showed. Was it at San Diego?
SDCC. Okay.
And yeah, they've shown Shaggy in the first wave, and then a couple of monsters with.
Oh, that's nice. So that's like
Unmasked
they're like
abilities.
fully articulated to like a 6-inch.
Yeah, they're
And-
full-on
oh,
figures. Yeah.
Even I'm excited for that. I hope to do a van too. That would be awesome.
See the van. I've actually got the Scoob movie that came out a few years ago. Came out with a van.
Yes.
And that's stayed on the shelf since then.
I actually had that van, and then my son took it, so he owns it now. It's his van now.
That's the way it goes. I've got the Joker hanging out of it. I need the gang.
Yeah, of course. Now, what action figure line do you think deserves more attention?
Man, more attention. Because I don't know. They come out with stuff on a regular basis, but I feel like some Star Wars could use a different release plan or a different release schedule. Because I know they probably have a lot of stuff told, when there's a new show or something coming, hey, you got to make figures of this to help promote this and this and this.
Mm-hmm.
But when they do that, they seem to only focus on that instead of, and then they just totally disregard everything before, even when it's figures that we still need from the original trilogy or the prequels or older media.
Mm-hmm.
But then they come back around a month or two later and bam, here's some old stuff for you old guys, and I'm happy again. So I can't really complain too much.
Okay.
But for a line that had more attention, Wait, that's something I don't usually think about because of all the stuff we're getting.
Yeah,
It
right.
it's every couple of days I have something new in my hands. If you had told me that 20 years ago, back in the Toy Biz days, when it was
Hmm.
kind of, 3-4 months between waves, well, this is coming out in the fall, guys. Okay, I guess we'll wait. I can't think of anything that's suffering that I collect.
Hmm. I like how
Maybe
you're looking
maybe
at on the floor too.
I got them all over. I have Star Wars down there and Masters of the Universe, Transformers. I will say DC Multiverse could probably do with some attention to scale.
Yeah,
The
you don't like the
sizings.
7 inch. You don't like the 7 inch scale, or you don't like the fact that some of them scale with each other well.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's what gets me is I don't mind the 7-inch scale when it's its own thing. It's its own style. I know it's
Hmm.
McFarlane just by looking at it, not even size wise, but man, a
Yeah.
lot of the Batmans are bigger than the Supermans, and it took a while to get a little bit of difference between sizes because
Hmm.
because when they started the line, they would say, well, it's 6 to 12 inch scale, and I'm like, that is not a thing. You have to
6 to 12 inch.
because they were going by some figures are 6 inch, some figures are 12 inch. So
Hmm.
that's the scale. And I'm like, no, that's not how that works. But uh yeah, like I said, they've gotten better, but I'd still like some consistency.
Yeah. No, I definitely understand that. And I'm going to lean back to a phone a friend question. Someone had asked, will Robo buy the Four Horsemen Dragon? And how much do you guess, or I guess, what do you estimate the cost will be for it?
My Robo's wife is buying the dragon. Robo will get to play with the dragon every now and then. It sounds like because I posted those pictures to my social of the dragon and stuff, and then I called my
Hmm.
wife the next day before heading to the show, and she was like, "Oh, we're getting the dragon. We don't we don't use the dining room table. That's where it's going."
Perfect for it. Yep. You know, it's funny. I actually we had a dining room when I first bought this house. A year later, I was like, "What's the point of this room? Like, we don't
Yeah.
even eat in here." So I
No.
got rid of it. It's now a kid's playroom. I got rid of the table, and it's a kid's playroom now. That's what it is.
At one point, we were going to expand the kitchen over into because it's one of those connecting. It's the same floor. It's the same room.
Yeah.
It's just
Okay. Okay.
you're supposed to put the table over. Well, I put the table in the back of the living room at some point, and never did anything with the space. So the table moved back, and then two of the kids are out of the house. The other one never eats at home, so it's like it's a display space now.
Yeah. No, I get that. Now,
As-
what do you do outside of action figures? Like, what are your hobbies? What are you into?
What? Is it weird that I still consider the action figure thing a hobby? Because I don't.
No, actually, no. It is a hobby, though. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
like in sense of like, but if like outside of action figures, like, what else
I
do
do
you like?
watch. I do hunting for action figures is my hobby. Looking at the action figures is my job. How about that? No.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, watching wrestling.
Oh,
I, I don't watch it because there's just too much anymore. There is wrestling every
mm,
night of the week these days. So
yeah.
I kind of keep up with the news sites, the YouTube channels that do quick synopsis of
They
the
give you the
show.
synopsis of each show.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I do the same thing, so I get that
yeah.
100%. So,
'Cause-
who's your favorite wrestler?
oh man, which era? Which
I mean, you know what? I'll say of all time.
I Sting. I'd probably go with Sting.
Me too. Yeah, he was my
Yeah,
favorite growing up too. Yeah, I loved
yeah.
Sting and Surfer Sting, then even the Crow Sting. Big fan.
Oh no, I did get in a little bit late. some of the first wrestling I watched was Steiner Brothers versus Nasty Boys at Halloween Havoc. I don't even remember what year that was. I was just flipping through my parents' TV, and there it was. I was like, look at these guys. What are they doing? Well, say that. I did watch, what was the WWE or WWF cartoon in the 80s where Rock and Wrestling or something like that?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So you saw watch that too? Okay.
Yeah. Captain Lou, did he host it? But I knew of Surfer Sting, but because of the Crow,
that was
was when that was when Sting went with that makeup. I was like, holy moly, this is awesome.
I mean, that was a very Sting before that was very colorful, very loud. You know, so he was a big fan. People loved him. Yeah, exactly. But he was my favorite when I was a kid, and I would say today, favorite again, but of all time, it's going to be Eddie Guerrero, just because of the fact that he played every role really well, and he was a perfectionist, unfortunately, which is probably what got him at the end, but. Just the way he was, charisma-wise, and then his ability and talent. I still consider him the favorite of all time.
I go back to watch some of that older, the later WCW stuff in the later 90s, and it's always a surprise at how good wrestling was. It was.
Yeah. That was the best part. The 96, 97 was probably the high point of wrestling at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I got into the Hardy Boys a lot. Tag team wise.
Yeah.
But what got me back later in the 15s was there was WWE stuff going on that was cool, but Broken Matt was the one that popped up.
Broken Matt.
Or something. I was like, what is he doing? And that
the delete.
Yeah. I love it.
I think doesn't he still do that today?
I think he's back.
He does that.
Yeah, they went back to TNA, and he's doing it again.
Yeah.
It's not the same though. I don't know.
I mean, I think originally when he first started doing it in TNA, I think he was Broken Matt Hardy in TNA, and when he first started doing it, and I think he had his whole family with him too. I think he had his father-in-law, his wife, so that was actually pretty cool. I did like that character.
His boat.
His boat.
It was his whole compound. It was awesome.
When WWE tried to, do it again with Bray Wyatt, it didn't work as well though.
No, there towards the end, I think they got the producer from TNA to come over, or they hired him or something. And right there at the end, it seemed to pick up whenever they were actually tagging and stuff. But then he went to AEW, and it didn't work. Yeah.
And I think he wanted a lighter schedule, and I mean, I think he's at his fifth or sixth child now, so I'm sure he's very busy.
Now they're tag champs in TNA, which I guess is way, again, lighter schedule, but they got to work their way back to WWE for the Hall of Fame eventually.
I mean, I think it's going to happen. I think they'll still get. I mean, they're going to be future Hall of Famers, both of them. So you can't deny that.
No.
I mean, even Edge is technically already in the Hall of Fame. Christian's going to be in there too. So
yeah. Find his way back when he's done. When they're done what they're doing.
Exactly. Apparently, I think that I just saw on Facebook earlier today that Edge and Christian are doing some type of gym workout thing together, as a business.
Some kind of planking thing, or
yes, you saw that too.
Yeah.
That came up on my feed. I was like, "What is this?"
I didn't know that was their thing specifically. I thought they were just advertising or getting paid to be spokesmen or something.
Oh, the way I read it, it was like their thing that they came up with this new system.
Really?
So I was like, okay, well, that's fun.
Hey, whatever you got to do.
Exactly. More power to them. So
yeah.
Welcome to the Plastic Journey Podcast, where we all meet up together and we broadcast.
is there anything else outside of action figures and like wrestling?
Like I said, I keep up with the news shows, and then I go over to a buddy's house, and we usually watch the pay-per-views. Not really. Wrestling is kind of my getaway from the action figure. You know,
Okay.
I don't collect wrestling figures for whatever reason.
That's very surprising that you watch it,
Yeah.
but you don't collect it. You have no wrestling figures.
I've got a Fiend up there, and I've got a few Bray Wyatts. I collect my like favorites, and when they come out with good figures, I've got a Danhausen right here.
Oh, I love Danhausen. Yep.
Yeah, dang it.
Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah.
And Sting, it may be just the face paint guys. Now that I think about it.
But well, yeah, I guess so. You have the Fiend Bray Wyatt, yeah. Hey, do you have a Jeff Hardy and a broken mat?
I have a broken mat. I don't have a Jeff. I've never seen a Jeff that I really, really like.
Okay.
And
I think the Jeff Hardy I have in my like there was a point where I used to buy them all, but I've been through like 3 iterations of wrestling figures at this point. So
yeah.
I've learned now that stop getting rid of stuff when you get out of that phase and just keep it, and because you'll eventually go back into it and then you have to collect it again. So now I've learned, don't get rid of it, just keep it. So certain wrestlers like where like I think they're okay, but I don't want like multiples of them. I'll just buy one, and I bought the Ultimate Edition Jeff Hardy that had the white pants, and then he had the skinnier torso, which was nicer. The first one came out with like he was all jacked up, and I was like, that doesn't look like him.
No, especially these days. Did you do the Jax figures back in the day? You go that far back?
Actually, no, I don't. I started my first ever figure was a WWE Mattel Eddie Legends line Eddie Guerrero.
Gotcha.
A friend of mine. I started getting back into wrestling, and he was like a closet collector, but he was a big fan of wrestling. When I saw his collection, he was like embarrassed to tell me and show me. I was at his house for a pay-per-view, and his wife was my wife's best friend, and we connected because of wrestling. And we were at their house watching the pay-per-view, and then his wife goes, "Oh, you should show him downstairs all your collections and all that." And he was like, "What? Stop, no!" And I was like, "I want to see. What are you talking about?" And then I didn't know like collecting was a thing. Like I was just like my jaw dropped, and I was like, "Holy crap, dude!" And it was just a big room. It was a basement filled with action figures everywhere. It was like Batman, wrestling, and that's what he was into. So I was like, this is actually pretty cool. And we were down there for like 30, 40 minutes just like talking about different figures and, attires from wrestling days. And I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know this was a thing. Like, I never walked down the toy aisle as an adult. So
was that your stepping stone? Was that your first step to...
Well, that was my introduction, I should say. Then he gifted me Eddie Guerrero. The Legends Eddie Guerrero for my birthday, and that's like, and I had it in the box. I was looking at it, this looks really cool. I want to open it, but I never opened it because I was like, eh. Then I bought, I think, other wrestlers I found somewhere on the marketplace, and I was like messing around with it. I was like, this is kind of cool. And I bought more, and then I bought more, and then eventually I was a collector, and wrestling is what got me into collecting in a way. It's really him, but
so you started opening right after Eddie. I mean, did you ever open the Eddie, or was it?
I eventually did open the Eddie. Yeah, okay. I eventually opened it, and it's now current. That Eddie Guerrero is still my display, but I have a bunch of Eddie Guerreros since he's one of my favorites. So he's just in my display of Eddie Guerrero.
Gotcha. Because when I got back in 95, 96 with the Power of the Force 2 stuff, in my brain I was like, I'm an adult now. I'm a collector. These stay on card. I had a complete collection up until 2002 of the Star Wars figures on card.
Oh wow!
On the wall. But as soon as, and then if I would customize something, I'd get extras. I get doubles. I'd buy another one to open up and stuff. But then when Marvel, Spider-Man and then Marvel Legends hit, it was all open, and it's been like that since. I didn't know if it was the same kind of mentality of.
I mean, honestly, like when I first started, like I kept that Eddie Guerrero. I'm very sentimental about things, so I kept it as closed packaging for the longest time. That Eddie Guerrero, but I was buying other figures and opening those. Eventually, I had my basement converted into a toy room. I had like 3,000 movies on the wall. All those movies went away, and I started putting figures up. So that was my. Go ahead.
Were the movies kind of a collector type thing? Did you buy
It was.
them
I was always a collector. Yeah, like it's always been like a passion of. I started collecting movies like DVDs and then eventually Blu-rays. I think 2000. I was 18 years old. That's when I started. I had a small collection. As many years went by, it just kept growing. So I literally had a library. I kept an Excel sheet that had all the movies listed down, so I was aware of what movies I owned and did not own, and then it would go with me everywhere because Blockbuster was a thing back then too, and they would have like buy 5 movies for $20 or buy 3 movies for $20, and that was the thing I would hit up like every other day. So
and
I
fill out
collected a
your
lot of movies. Exactly.
So you considered yourself a collector of DVDs, or did you know you were doing it?
I would say I was a collector. Like I didn't call myself a collector, but I was like I'm into movies. I didn't. I just watched them, and then like they would just go on the shelf.
Yeah.
I didn't. I guess I went through a phase, right? So like, right before when I started dating my wife, before we got married, I started collecting watches. That was a weird one. So I had a bunch of watches. Like I had like over like between 45 and 50 watches at one point. Today I probably own about 35 still. I don't wear watches today anymore. I stopped wearing them after the iWatch. I had one of those, but I got rid of it just because my wife would always like get mad at me because I didn't respond to her text message, and she's like, "It's on your watch." And I was like, "Listen, I'm not constantly looking at it." Exactly. So I just stopped wearing the iWatch, and I was like, "All right, I'm done." And now, like, I don't wear watches either. So I still have most of them though. They're all the really expensive ones I sold just because that was money back for my other toy collection.
So collecting's in the blood.
It's pretty much, yeah. I like even to like I don't really buy movies today, but I'll buy. I guess I do buy movies just like the digital versions, just because my whole house, all the TVs are connected. So like if I buy something digitally, I can watch it on any TV in the house.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, growing up, were you around any kind of collecting, like parents or something? Did they have stuff?
My dad was like a fiend, but it was more like a technology fiend. Like he had like 3 or 4 computers. He had like 5 iPads, not iPads, but like he had like 4 different tablets. Like it was like he had like a Samsung. He had like whatever the tablets were back in the day.
Right.
He was like my dad was like one of those people who would buy a lot, and like he was like a tech junkie. So like anything new. We probably had like he was probably one of the first people to have a DVD player in the house and a Blu-ray player.
Gotcha.
So he was one of those. That's probably where he came from, honestly speaking.
And that's where, because my mom growing up, she had porcelain, like Hallmark statues or stuff like that. She'd launch with those, and then and then she'd have a theme in the kitchen, and sometimes it was chickens, sometimes it was apples, but whatever she decided on was I got to have all the apples I see. I got to have all the chickens I see. You know what I mean? She sees a chicken at the store. Now it's trucks. She sees trucks out and about. And it's like, I got to have a different truck. So I think we come by it naturally.
Yeah. No, because even my brother, like, he's the one who I would say got me into collecting movies because he started before I did. He's my older brother by 4 years. So he started collecting before me, and I saw that in, older brother. So I was like, yeah, I'll collect too, man. It'll be fun. We'll collect together.
Hey,
but now he still collects movies,
I
though.
do it.
Yeah, exactly. He still collects movies today, But he's also now like a big bourbon collector. He's a big like he's got like 3 different bars in his house. He barely drinks them, but he collects them for some weird reason.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
but not figures. Is figures your thing?
figures is my thing. Yeah.
Okay.
I think at this point, my son is turning into like a mini version of me. Like my wife gets mad at him. She's like, "Why do you keep asking for toys?" He's like, "I'm a collector, mom." He'll be like, "I'm a collector." She's like, "You don't even play with them." He's like, "Yeah, because they're posed up on the shelf.
Yeah,
Leave
yeah.
them alone." Don't. And I find it like she'll my wife will look at me and just be like, "That's you." Like this is
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I was like,
Your
"Yeah, I
fault.
know." Yes, 100%. I mean, but I love
Yeah.
it. I mean, he's my eldest one is 8, so he's at that age now where like he's trying to like he wants to go to cons with me. Like I went to Retro Toy Con, just this past weekend. He wanted to go so bad, and I was like, listen, like it's a long trip, you're not gonna like it, but you're gonna be on your feet all day, and there's a lot of people everywhere. I was like, when you get older, I promise you, I will start taking you to these cons. It's just
Yeah.
you have to be at an age where I think it's appropriate for you to go, and you'll be able to handle it.
Because there's also that fear of you lose them for a minute, and the crowds sometimes are so dense and so
Oh yeah.
just
Oh, I would definitely put an air tag in my son's pocket or something.
yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
When mine were little, I was always, oh, you stay right here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my younger one, I would probably put a leash on him, just so
Yeah.
because he has a habit of like walking away. Like he'll walk away and do stuff and like play with other people's things. So he would be like you have to be eagle eye on. My older one is like responsible and that's how it works, right? The older one is responsible, the younger one is more wild. That's exactly how
Yeah.
it is in my household.
Yeah, mine's 20 now. He's in trying to get his 3D printer running, so
Okay.
it's and I'm like, oh, 3D printing.
You're like,
Huh?
what can you print for me?
That's right. Let me find some STL files. I need to do some customizing.
Yeah, no, 100%. So let's go to YouTube now. What made you decide
Okay.
to start your YouTube and become this superstar that you are today?
I, d- I don't think it wasn't actually my decision to start YouTube. Right at the time,
Okay.
it was Whoosh, and we had always been kind of a online news and review type site. Well, we
Okay.
were a
Yeah.
news and review site, and it just seemed like YouTube was the next step. People
Yeah.
were watching a lot more videos in 2000. Well, it was before that, but we're always late to the game. It was 2015, I think I started. 15.
Which year?
I-
15?
14,
Okay.
yeah, 14 I started. 15 I actually got into it. 14 was kind
Got
of
it.
that, oh, what am I doing? Because when we decided to start a YouTube channel, it was like, it was almost like, not it. And I was the last guy going, wait, I guess I'm doing it. Because I had the metal shop job. I lived in Arkansas. I had time. And
Okay. Well, you also
It
you
wasn't-
probably had the camera ready face, right?
no. I was like, no. In fact, I don't think I actually got in front of the camera till later. It was a few years in, because
Oh wow. Okay.
nobody, who want to look at this? Who want to listen to this? Was my thing when I started, because so I tried to tone down the accent, which I will admit is still toned down from the way I used to talk in 2005, 2010, somewhere in
Okay.
there. But yeah, my first time going to San Diego Comic-Con was 2005, 2006, and I could hear it. I was like, what the hell? You sound like this? Because I got out around people who didn't sound like that. And, wait, why do I talk like this? But I toned down the accent. I tried to not be excitable. I thought people wanted, just straightforward reviews. And here we're going to look at the sculpting and the articulation and very monotone. And then
okay.
it was a couple years in that I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna talk about what I would talk and do what I would want to do and go
Yeah.
from there.
And that
So,
makes more sense. Yeah.
yeah.
Hi, guys. Thanks for watching Figure Fight Club right here on the Figure Fight Club YouTube channel. I'm Laserpants, and I want to tell you about my show, the 3POA Podcast. Hosted by myself and co-hosted by my good buddy, Bobby Valla of Valaverse. We talk about toys, movies, comics, television, the toy industry, and so much more nerdy stuff. I hope you check us out Saturdays at 5 p.m. and on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. I get wild. I host a eclectic bunch of collectors, a rotating cast of miscreants, and we do the same thing. We talk about this stupid ass hobby that we all have, buying toys and putting them on our shelves to collect dust. So I ask you, won't you please check us out? The 3POA Podcast on YouTube. Click that link in the description below, and I'll see you over there.
It was almost like I was faking it for a couple years, you know, and because I was. That wasn't me. That was just. I go back and watch those videos, and it's like, oh, it's bad. So, yeah, it's much better if you just have fun doing it.
Yes, I think that's the biggest and most important thing is if you're not gonna have fun doing it, then what's really the point? Then it's like
Yeah.
a job.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with that. What is your process for, I guess, preparing for a review or like a video?
These days, it's just. Well, it depends on the video. On the reviews, I
Okay.
just turn on the lights, turn on the cameras, start recording, open the box, and go. You know, I try not to watch other people's reviews or anything beforehand because I want to go in fresh and clean and not just reiterate other people's stuff unless it's like something terrible with the figure or there was a major issue or something. So
Okay.
on Mondays I try to do a shorter review, smaller review that I can do that day, edit, post to the Patreon. And then on Tuesday, I shoot the video that I'm going to edit Wednesday, a more involved play day or a whole wave review or something long form. So that'll give me all day Tuesday to shoot, edit on Wednesday, post to the Patreon. Then it goes on YouTube Thursday. But then for the rewind on Friday, Friday, that's an all week thing. If I see new pictures, I throw them in a folder. If I have any notes in my head or gags or little jokes that makes me giggle, I write them down. The information, release date, money, or price, and and then Thursday I spend all day getting that together, the pictures, editing the pictures, coming up with the order, segues, and professional type stuff that only I think sometimes I only do it because it bugs me if I don't do it, that nobody would even notice if I just did it out of order or all jumbled up or anything. And then Friday I shoot for an hour and a half and then edit for 4 or 5 hours and then post it up.
That was actually one of my other questions too. Like, how long does it typically take you? So
yeah, on Mondays, if I do like just one figure, I can shoot in about an hour and then edit in a couple. Because, well, that's weird. I probably shoot less than that.
Okay.
Because then the big video, a play day may take 5-6 hours to record because I'm going back and forth and bringing other figures in or explaining a process or something like that, and then it takes Wednesday. But the rewind or the weekly before, for years it's been Thursday most of the day put together, Friday shoot for an hour and a half, edit for 4 or 5, because the editing process there with the chroma key and the effects and plugging in the lower third and everything else just takes time.
Yeah.
And plus me blubbing through talking about stuff. I'll get halfway through a sentence. It's like stutter, stumble, go back. Oh, I just thought of something better. Let's redo that whole section. Yeah, it's a mess. But
So
but it's fun.
will you sometimes like edit or cut out certain things, or would you just go in and just re-record the whole thing?
I usually don't. I try not to come back and re-record anything.
Okay.
I try to get it all in one take. That's what Thursday's about. It's trying to. Well, okay. I want to make sure to make this point. I want to.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it, and a lot of the just off the top how my brain works when I'm shooting Friday may take a couple times to get out my mouth, but most of the time it's an hour and a half of recording that I cut down to 20-25 minutes because of no, wait, go back, redo that because I'm terrible. But the original reason I started editing in the first place was because the sound of breathing and swallowing and stuff like that, I'd annoy myself. And I was like, nope, that's getting cut out. Because when I started, I was smoking a pack and a half, 2 packs a day. And,
wow. Okay.
And because of that, because of the YouTube and headphones and listening to myself hack and wheeze and try to get through sentences and stuff, I quit. Like,
okay, well, that's good.
A year
I mean,
in.
That's good though. So you made a healthy choice because of this hobby.
Yeah. And now it's been 10 years or so. That's
awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. it's it's been.
I get it. I used to be a smoker too, so I do get it. Now, what challenges have you faced as a toy, action figure content creator?
That a lot of YouTube is watching video games and music videos and other things, and when they run across your channel or your shorts, you're going to inevitably get, oh, look at this guy living in his parents' basement. You single? Ha, you suck. And I have a problem of taking those kind of comments to heart, even though they're grown adults making shitty comments on YouTube. I don't know. That's one of my pet peeves when it comes to the channel.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, it's online. People will say, pretty much anything at this point online.
Yeah.
Because they're hiding behind a fictitious name essentially.
Because I used to reply to stuff like that. I'd be like, I'd be like, you're the one that watched it. You're the one that clicked it. And I've gotten comments back of, no, I was scrolling and YouTube showed me this. And I was like, and then you took the time to figure out what the video was and to comment and then come back and reply again. So who's the immature person here? That's
this actually jumped in. How do you handle negative comments or criticisms on your video?
Anymore, I just click them off. I just click. I may dwell on it for like 10, 15 minutes, but I remind myself, and this is hard sometimes, I remind myself that I get way more positive comments.
But you don't dwell on it today, do you?
Today, as in what?
Like as in today versus when you first started, or like on this journey of YouTube.
Like I said, when I first started, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm going. It's on. We're going back and forth now." And finally, it was like, I can't do that. Plus, now I'll see it, and it'll be like a quick decision of, do I even want to think twice about it, or click whatever, go on to something else? Because I'd much rather see some positive comments or just not read comments at all, come out here, play with toys, and be in a good mood to make a video, because that's all I'm looking for is,
It's all about
have
having fun. Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, show other people that you can have fun with your hobby, and just because if I'm in a bad mood today, I don't know why I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and it was just it just avalanched. But I knew I had to shoot, and I got to that part, and half of me was like, I'm just skipping today. But then if you've done YouTube long enough, you know that if you skip a day or something, YouTube just kind of forgets you. They just,
Yeah.
we're going to stop showing your stuff then. Okay. So I don't know. It's like people say, "Oh, well, you're your own boss." And I'm like, "No. YouTube's the boss."
They're the ones who control everything. Yeah.
Yep, Google's the overlord. So
Exactly. It's funny you actually say that. Now, the term play days, that's definitely your term. Now, is that something you coined during your YouTube, or was that something you also called it before you started YouTube?
there were several iterations, and it wasn't until YouTube. Before that it was just habit, not habit. It was just common to make a custom. Well, I would go through spurts. I'd go a couple years of customizing and then take a couple years of not doing anything. That's why it's just kind of I don't get better at anything, just because I forget what I'm doing and then I have to relearn it a couple years later. But to make a custom, post it on the forums, and then there would be some feedback or back and forth, or people would ask how you did this, and then I waited some years after starting the channel to get into the customizing thing because nobody's ever right. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many different ways to do anything that I just feel like I'm not showing anybody how to do it. I'm not teaching. I'm not doing a tutorial because there's 16 different ways to do it. So it just comes off as me. Here's my way. Here's how I did it. And I can't remember if the customizing thing had a name, but it kind of came out of Figure or Fodder. I used to do a series,
Okay.
which was buying stuff that may or may not fit into a 6-inch collection and seeing if it will fit. But that became very why buy the stuff I know is not going to fit? or if you do this long enough, you can look at something and go, "Oh, that's going to be good. That's not going to be good." So it just kind of became a play day stuff that I knew would fit.
And you do test around a lot from what I was watching one of your videos the other day, and I think it was when you were putting spikes on a female Marvel Legends, and I was like, like you showed like one iteration, then you showed like a different iteration, and then I think you bought like the little stickers too. And I was like, man, you really experiment. Like you go all out on like the perfect custom.
Because one of those things, well, especially Excalibur was one of my main comics back in the day. I loved Excalibur. So Hasbro finally getting around to Captain Marvel. They're not perfect, right? They're $25 action figures, which is a chunk of change, but at the same time, that's a cheap figure these days.
Yes, compared to everything else,
Yeah, there's no cheaper. So I got most of Excalibur, but they've been hanging out with Phoenix. So Phoenix was high on my list. So she got some experimentation done. I'm working on another custom right now that I've got a box that I'm going to show at the first of the video of all the parts and pieces I've collected the past 2 or 3 years trying to make this. And what it finally came down to was me hitting up a buddy, asking him how he would do it. And then he just sculpted it, 3D printed it. And I'm like, I could have done that 2 years ago. This is bullshit. So sometimes that's how it works out. But yeah, I've gotten to where I probably take too much time doing it, but I'm happier with the results. Because some of my favorite customs from 2010, when I got into DC, was because of Secret Six. It was because Gail Simone left Marvel after writing Deadpool and Agent X, and she started writing Secret Six for DC. So I jumped
Okay.
a whole other universe over to see what was there. And then my Secret Six customs back in the day were very involved, and that's some of the ones I'm most proud of. So I guess with age, I take my time a lot more. I'd be more meticulous with it. But Playdate, I think just came along from me going, hey, this is just me playing. I'm not trying to show you the only way that it can be done. Just here's my way. And let's go
I mean,
from there.
you're having fun with it, but I was surprised how experimental you were.
Yeah.
It's like you tried different avenues, and then you had like, well, I didn't like it because of this, and then I'm gonna try it again using this one. So then you use a whole new body, and I was like, man.
Because trying it out at 2 times, I got really good at placing where I wanted those things. So when somebody, and again, it was one of those things. I thought, well, I guess I will settle for these little stickies. They're not great, but they work for what I want. I'll post it to Patreon, and I swear, in an hour, somebody was like, "Hey, why aren't you using the fingernail spikes? They're a little small and stuff." And it was like, my head exploded. So I ordered those, got another base body, done. And so collaboration is also a fun aspect of doing this in an online setting.
That's actually very true. Yeah.
I mean,
there's a whole community of customizers out there.
Yeah. And sharing stuff. Because back in 2005, some of those guys, I mean, and it probably still happens now, but there's a lot more customizers. But back then, it seemed like a small space. And some people were very secretive about their process or how to do this or where they got these parts. It was like a mystery. And I think that's another reason we started the forums was, hey, let's share. Let's go through the processes. How do you pop and swap? How do you dry brush? Because there wasn't that kind of thing back then.
It was probably a good. It was probably a good like outlet to help people, train people, and then a community. Like again, it's building a community, right? That's what you guys did.
Yeah.
So, no, that's awesome. Yeah,
because it was Marvel Legends and customizing were the two big topics of those forums for years and years and years.
Yeah. So, what advice would you give someone who's kind of aspiring to create their own YouTube journey with action figures? Like, what would you advise them, I guess?
I always tell anybody who asks that to just, well, okay, there's a couple of things. I think the biggest thing is just be yourself. Just don't fake it. Don't just put your when I'm nervous about a video going up or kind of embarrassed because I said something or did something or acted a certain way or something, I've always 9 times out of 10 that video does better than the videos where I'm a bit more reserved or something. If you just put it all out there, I mean, that people can see your eyes, your face, your personality, then there's a connection out there. But for YouTube specifically, you want to get a schedule. You want to pick a day, pick a time. I've got an alarm that goes off every day, 5 minutes before it's time to post a video. And even though I don't post every day, I still have something going on that time of day every day, because really I would post at night sometimes, I'd post in the morning, sometimes this day, sometimes that day, before 2020. Now I'll admit 2020 was everybody was at home watching videos and stuff. Yes. But that was the year that I was like, nope, okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. because I think I was doing the news on Fridays before that, or at some point, and I swapped it to Saturdays because of the schedule. And after that, that's when YouTube was like, I don't know algorithms, I don't know any of that kind of stuff, but I know that if YouTube gets used to you posting at a certain time, then it seems to want to promote a little better. I can't guarantee that, but yeah, personality.
I've heard about that. I've heard about YouTube. Like if you're sticking to a consistent schedule, it likes it and it'll keep pushing schedule and your videos out because you're being consistent.
Yeah, and I've kept that schedule. I took a couple of months off because I kept that schedule from early 2020 to March of 2023. I never missed a video going up at those times. I don't think. I even if I was at a show, I would pre-record some stuff or, have some videos ready to go. When I took vacation in November of 2022, I had videos ready to go. And I scheduled flights and drive times around my schedule days. But then after 3 years, I was finally like, I need a vacation. So I took a month off. I missed those days. And then it seems like last fall, I missed a day. And then I hate to say it, but Legion's Con, I missed Saturday. And YouTube took another week or so. I went right back to the schedule after that, and it took a week or so before it actually
came back up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, this is actually my first official video, technically, but it won't even air until December 20th. Just because that's the one Friday I know I'm going to be missing. But normally I'm going to be airing live Friday nights at 9 p.m. I like Friday just because I don't have to work on Saturday. Friday nights, gives me freedom to kind of just, if I want to run it late, I could run it late. Those options are available.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you'll go on Sundays. We kind of jump around between afternoon and late night. But even then, there's Geek Dad Life. There's Out of the Basement. I think Dan Who does a show on Sunday.
There's so many shows. Yeah.
I'll go to click and it's like, oh well, shit. I don't want to go on now because somebody else is on.
I mean, I almost feel bad because I've been watching more YouTube than I do like Netflix or Hulu or Max I've actually been watching more. Like I've been doing more YouTube stuff recently than hanging out with my wife, and I feel bad about that too.
That's what. Whenever I first started doing this, I was pulling the camera out and setting it up on the bed, and then one wall of our bedroom was this, and I'd take the camera back down and get back to the thing. And finally, she was, and I don't remember if I was probably griping about something. And she was like, well, since you're starting this, and it really wanted to go, then just make the bedroom a studio. And, where that way you can leave everything set up, put a desk, leave your camera where it is. And that went on for 5, 6, 7 years until I got this. Yeah. And now I'm working on trying to clear that bedroom out because it grew over the years of boxes and packages and toys and everything else. So it takes time.
I definitely understand that. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I've always this is, my office. I'm in this room most of the day just for work. I work from home. So this is where I'm at. This is my work laptop. And I'm just here all the time. So that's why I was just like, I'd rather have my toys, at least the ones that I like, nicely around me, so I could turn around and just look at them once or twice. So
right.
So it works out well.
And I have those shelves up there, but I'm working on having, because it's nice to have a in view.
It is.
You're talking about toys. You're thinking about toys. People ask about toys, and you can just
yeah,
right there.
Exactly. Like I have toys. There's a wall, and then my cabinets. But then I have actually carded toys on the wall here that no one sees, but I see it. Like I have a Sting. Speaking of Sting, I have a Sting right here from AEW. That's what the one of 3,000 from his last match at AEW.
Yeah.
So I picked this up. I went to the pay-per-view and picked it up at the one, like I guess at their vendor stall, just because I was there to watch him wrestle one last time.
I think I've got a Sting figure somewhere, but the AEW figure I got was the half Darby, half Sting face,
Yes.
which I
Okay.
think was a chase or something. But that's all they had at these WalMarts around here. So
You should they have the, I think they call him Supreme, Supreme
Oh, yeah.
Edition, where he comes with like 3-4 different heads.
Mhm.
Like I think like one, two, like 3 cloth shirts or 2 cloth shirts and like a cloth coat, with like soft goods, and it's really nice. But you have to look at the heads though before you buy it, just because there's been a lot of QC issues with January.
Oh, really? Okay, good to know. Because
Yeah.
I would have just, I found it.
Yeah, you have to kind of look at them because at least that Sting head, they'll mess up with the paint app, and then you gotta eye like the whole paint is shifted to the left or right or somewhere. I have
Off
2
his
of them
eyes.
myself, so yeah, off not just the eyes, like the entire face is shifted.
I don't think I looked close at the half Darby face. I guess I need to dig that up because I grabbed it just in case and then never saw Sting.
Yeah, no, I get that. But yeah, no, I actually have a separate shelf just for Sting too, just because that's childhood memories right there. So I get
Because
it.
it's Sting, baby.
Yeah. I would love to meet him one day though. I haven't done that yet.
I was at a show in Knoxville that had a crazy amount of celebrities, and they were just on the outer wall facing in. And I'm talking about like Lonnie Anderson, some of the Backstreet Boys, some Power Rangers, some wrestlers. The voice of Evil Lynn from the old Masters cartoon, and Skeletor, and celebrities. But then Sting was there.
Yeah.
But he was in a curtain. He was in a closed off space. He was the only one that you could not see from the con floor.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So,
Okay.
and that was, I don't know if that was him or if that was the show or something, but I don't know.
I actually just saw Arn Anderson 2 days ago, or today's Monday, right? Yeah, 2 days ago on Saturday.
Really?
Arn Anderson was at Retro Toy Con with his son, and then Jimmy Hart, Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart was there too.
No,
So I was
kidding.
like, man, he's really orange. I was so surprised how orange he looked.
Is Arn Anderson? He's not. Is he back WWE? No.
I don't think so. I think he's still probably doing the whole AEW stuff. I didn't like he walked past me like when I was in the lobby as well, and I saw he was sitting and doing signings. I don't know what they were charging. I never really asked to like I just said hi and like in the hall in the lobby because I knew who he is, and I think I threw up like the Four Horsemen sign. That was about it.
Man, the Horseman.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to meet Ric Flair as well, but that whole era is changing. I think Jake the Snake was supposed to be there, but he like no showed.
Oh,
So,
really?
Yeah,
Haven't seen him anywhere in a while.
I think he was last time I saw him was in AEW. But I don't know if he's getting cleaned up or not. I know he was doing the whole DDP yoga thing. So
Yeah. Oh, he was with Murder Hawk, right? He was.
Was it Murder Hawk?
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember the guys. It was. I remember his old wrestling. It was Lance Hoyt. He has a new name now. The guy that he was managing.
Lance Archer.
Archer. Sorry, maybe it was Lance Archer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Archer.
I think-
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
I
was the
think-
guy. Yeah. The
that was
one that
somebody
looks
else.
really tall. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
don't know who he's with today. Yeah.
Like I said, I don't keep. And I was big AEW there for a while, but now I've gravitated. I've went back to WWE more for pay-per-views and stuff.
Honestly, like after the whole CM Punk issue, I kind of stopped watching AEW. Minus like just going to the Sting last match because and I only went for Sting, honestly.
Yeah.
But I've kind of stopped really watching. I mean, I'll still get the highlights.
Yeah.
I think even Raw and SmackDown I don't watch. It's just all about
No.
highlights. Anything that's very quick.
Yeah. And really, it's down to well, I'll say Rhea Ripley, and then the Bloodline stuff is pretty much
Yeah.
what I really keep up with.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a fan of Rhea Ripley. I think she's awesome. The Bloodline stuff is
Well, the
interesting.
whole yeah,
Yeah.
Judgment Day and all that kind of stuff. Dom, damn it, I can't help it. I don't know why.
I will not lie. I do miss the Demon Valor.
Yes.
I do miss that though. I do miss that whole gimmick where you came out with like the face, like the paint, and like kind of
Yeah.
crawling out there, and that was awesome.
But I feel like, yeah, they flubbed that several times, and then I guess just away
In
with it.
NXT, it was amazing.
Yes.
Watching it at NXT was awesome. WWE when he went to the main, I guess the main roster, they jacked it up completely.
Yeah, yeah,
So this I blame Vince McMahon
yeah.
for that
There
one.
was a couple times, especially, and with Bray, he'd get almost there, and it was all awesome, and then he'd get to that point, and then they would just, why are they calling off a no disqualification match? What?
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, Bray was probably one of the most underrated. Like I think he was like any match he had like was awesome. Character wise, persona wise, he knew everything.
Yeah.
Like he was a true legend when it comes to like the persona, the characters. Like most of his characters, except for Husky Harris, was like phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh,
And
man.
what he did with
I
the
love-
Fiend, like that was like a whole. Like I love the Bray Wyatt character alone, and then when he did the Fiend thing, I was like, this is interesting. And then you just kind of liked him. I was like, oh, this is actually
Yeah.
kind of different. This is cool. I like
And then
this.
and then the Funhouse stuff threw you off at
Yeah.
first. I was like, wait, what? But then every week, I just want to see the Funhouse. Go.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even with Alexa Bliss joining him, I didn't think it was that terrible. I thought it was interesting, but like how they ended it with Randy Orton, that's what I
Yeah.
didn't like. Yeah, I was just like, what the hell is going on? Like it didn't make sense.
It was always the endings of the storylines that kind of
Yeah.
just fell off.
Yeah, it just didn't make sense. Like, why would she do that? Like, what's the point in that? Like, and then like burning him, and like that didn't make sense either. Like,
Yeah,
what the hell are you
yeah.
guys doing?
But as soon as I saw Bo, when they were with B Team, they did the impersonation of Matt Hardy and Gray. I was like, okay, Bo can get in here somewhere too. And
Yeah,
what I've seen of the White Six stuff is pretty cool too. I mean,
Well-
it's a nice homage, but he's also kind
Yeah.
of spinning it.
I think what the original plan was to actually bring like something similar to the Wyatt Six, but I don't think it was going to be called
Yeah.
that. But I think he was going to bring all these people, like these characters that he had in the Funhouse, to life. That was the
Yeah.
original plan behind it. Now, there's rumors I heard. I don't know. Someone told me or internet that the people that he chose to be in the group were the same people Bray would have chosen. That's
really?
what the rumor is. I don't know, but
They kind of fit. I mean, they work.
yeah. I mean, they like. I think it was it Nikki? Abigail, Sister Abigail, who plays that
Yeah.
role. Was she Sister Abigail? Yeah, like I think she had already started doing weird stuff for a while. They were showing that like it would take literally it would be like almost like months in between, but you would see it.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, that's long term storytelling. I do like that part about it.
When she would stop and stare, I guess, during matches.
Yeah, exactly.
And- yeah. But Bray was really, I mean, he would call back promos from NXT or stuff that people would connect together with what he's saying and everything. Yeah, it was amazing.
No,
going through the
no,
back.
that's the same. Bray was phenomenal when it came to that. It's so
Yeah.
sad about his passing.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
sucks.
he was probably like, I mean, for a while I think he was one of my favorites in the modern era, just because like it was exciting to see him come out. To see his just split spit that promo out. It's just like, what is he gonna say? Like, it's gonna be good. So what is he gonna say is the question.
Yeah, because even I mean, some of his Wyatt family promos, man, still go back and watch those sometimes about school teachers and oh yeah, it's crazy.
No, he probably one of the best in the mics in the history of WWE.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, he started out as Husky Harris.
Yeah, in what Nexus, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Nexus. Yep.
Yeah.
And then he's the son of IRS. That's just crazy.
Yeah, and I remember. Was it IR? What was his WCW name? Michael Shyster.
Shyster. Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy. But I mean, like, he was I think he was a third generation wrestler too, Bray Wyatt. I think his grandfather also. I think he did.
But oh yeah, Blackjack Mulligan, or was it something?
I think so. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Someone.
I thought he was. Go ahead.
Barry Windham, named after Barry Windham.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. But then you go back and I still love seeing some older Bo stuff when he was doing the Bo Leave gimmick.
The Bo Leave was awesome.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate because again, like a lot of the stuff. Because this is like, I call it the Triple H era, like when he was running NXT, and he did such a good job with a lot of these characters. He built them up so well, and then they crossed over to the main roster, and then that's where Vince McMahon would just destroy them. Like, it was horrible.
Because none of those. Well, the only, and even he, eventually. Oh man, I'm gonna forget his name. Glorious. I know
who you're talking. I know who you're talking about. Robert Roode.
Yeah, I think he's behind the scenes now, but he's the only one that I really remember keeping the same from NXT to the main roster, and it going for a while.
Yeah, I actually have a T-shirt that says "Glorious" on it, and it's his shirt. Yeah,
because the worst was Karrion Kross. He was killing it in NXT, and then what's this?
It's I don't know what that was, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Karrion Kross is actually a really good wrestler too. Like, he's been around for a very long time.
Yeah, thankfully he got south. He's doing much better.
But yeah, his gimmick in NXT was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Along with Scarlett. Good. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, I was a big fan of Scarlett for obvious reasons. Yeah. No, I appreciate you joining me on here. This is awesome. I mean, here, since you're a wrestling fan, you'll appreciate this too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I didn't know you were a big wrestling fan either, because I actually wanted to do like in my lives, I've been making a list of people, because a lot of people don't watch wrestling that I've realized who are into like toy collecting, unless they're only who collect different lines, unless they do they'll do wrestling only, you know. So I wanted to make a list of like people who I know who like talking about like the old stuff, right? Like Attitude Era and things like that. That way we could just have like 5-6 of us all together on a show one day and just talk wrestling. It'll just be a pure wrestling show, and it wouldn't be about toys. It'll just be about like wrestling of the 90s.
Yeah, because it's been a while since whenever WWE Network had the old Monday Nitros on.
Yeah.
And they may have it on Peacock now, but I haven't actually went and looked. But I flip on every now and then, and man, that's just nostalgia. Ow, hits me right there.
100%. Yeah, honestly, I was so I was dating my wife, and I was at her apartment on a Monday. It was Monday night. We're flipping through the channels, and Raw came on. I saw an advertisement for WWE Network. And this is, mind you, I had stopped watching wrestling, and I was like, oh, I was telling her, I was like, I was a nut about wrestling for so long, like more than half of my life, I was a nut over wrestling. It was 24/7, pretty much. And
Right.
I saw just watching wrestling, and then I saw the network WWE Network advertisement where he said you could go watch all the old WCW Nitros. That night I went home and I ordered it. I got back to my apartment. I ordered that network so I could start watching all the Nitros, and I binge watched them all. It was awesome, and that's what kind of got me back into wrestling because I was like, okay, Nitro's on. I was like, what else is on? Like I don't know current WWE, so I started watching that, and that's literally what got me back into watching wrestling again. And I was like, oh crap, I'm back into
Yeah,
it.
there's some stuff that you run across that's like, oh, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe that's. I mean, RoboCop doesn't need to come down to the ring to help out.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few things. I mean, near the end of WCW, the Vince Russo era, I wasn't a big
Yes.
fan of, personally speaking.
Yeah.
The Viagra on a pole. I mean, whatever else on a pole. Judy Bagwell on a pole or on a crane, whatever she was.
My favorite moment, though, is remember the fake stings coming down and the NWO
Oh, yeah.
would knock them out because
Yes.
we
Yeah.
we're Sting and Buff punches one and turns around and does the
The buff
it's the real
flex.
Sting.
Yep.
The real Sting
And he
stands back
removes
up.
the-
He's like, yes, that's the best moment ever.
Yes, that is definitely one of the better highlights of him in the WCW era. It's
Yeah.
just so unfortunate, man. Like the ending of that match, like that whole like feud, Sting
Yeah.
should have gone over like cleanly, and Hollywood Hogan used his creative control and that crap to mess it up, and it was horrible. Right at the end, it was perfect until the end, and it's just like, why did you do that? And
Yeah.
like in
Did it go on
WCW,
for
it's
a year or two after that? It went on for a
No.
while, didn't it?
they they did the like Sting one, but it was like I think they stripped the belt off of Sting like the following Nitro,
Yeah.
and then they had another match eventually where he won cleanly, but it was just like the hype was over. That like you had the Starrcade was like their WrestleMania, right? That's how WCW worked. That was their WrestleMania, and that's you want that story finish there. You needed that Starrcade, and they completely messed that up. I was
Yeah.
like, they did it on like Fall Brawl. Like, who cares? Like,
Right.
it's Fall Brawl. Like, who
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Then there was Wolfpack. And the NWO thing. I remember there being so many NWO guys that I couldn't even keep track, and they would just fill the ring up and be standing
Yes.
around.
I mean,
It's
the
just
funny
like,
thing is, I'm actually trying to make all the NWO members, even if they don't have a
Yeah.
figure. I'm trying to make them because I have Hollywood Hogan Outsiders. I have a Dennis Rodman figure already. I know Bubba Rogers was part of the NWO. I think I have a Mr. Perfect. I have a lot of the members already. I even they made a Scott Steiner WWE version when he was when he showed up in WWE. I've already customized that into and like I have a Wolfpack version. I have a black and white version.
Yeah.
And so I already have that customized, and it's already in my shelf with the NWO. So I've been working on making like the whole group. I need a Muda, and they're releasing a Muda coming out because he was the NWO Muda, but they're not releasing that
Uh-huh.
one. So, but that shouldn't be too hard to paint. Hopefully not.
do you have like Scott Norton and
No, so they don't have Scott Norton, so you have to figure
yeah.
that one out. Like they probably have you probably have someone's body you could use already. It's just you got to figure out the head scan.
Yeah.
I've seen people 3D print that head scan already. Like even Buff Bagwell, like he'll never get a WWE Mattel figure. You'll never see one of him. He has a Jax figure, but it's going for like $80-$90 loose.
He was one of the original. Oh, well, was that the figure, the WCW figure, the Toy Biz WCW figure? Was
He had-
was that
it was
the
an
base of the
NWO.
eventual- that they used for Marvel Legends later on?
Is that no?
No,
They were so small. I don't think it was
were
that.
they?
Yeah, they were really small. The WCW figures, They had horrible heart articulation too, and I think they had like a thing on their back where it would make them move a body part.
Yeah. There was
I used
there
to
was one
have that
tour-
buff bag ball too. Go ahead.
I remember those figures in the package back in the day and thinking, well, I mean, when we were on the hunt for custom fodder in any place we could find, and it was, but then Jax came along and man, they were bubbly. They were
Oh yeah. I
too
mean, even
bubbly.
today, like I use some of Jack's figures to be customs of like people who I think would never be released in Mattel form. So like a Tommy Dreamer. He
Yeah.
actually might have a chance to be made right now, but it hasn't been done. Or I guess they have made one, but it was a basic. So I have an elite version with more articulation of Tommy Dreamer. I have a Raven. I have an ECW shelf I've been working on too. So I have a Raven that I've customized. I have a Just Incredible that I've customized.
Yeah.
Jerry Lynn actually they just announced a Ring of Honor Jazzwares figure for Jerry Lynn. So I was like, okay, well, I'll probably end up getting that just so I could put it in my ECW shelf.
I was about to ask, didn't somebody start doing? Have they done a lot of Ring of Honor figures, or is that
Dan
kind of the
Housen,
AEW license extended?
It's AEW stuff, honestly speaking, because
Gotcha.
AEW owns Ring of Honor now. Like he bought
That's
out
right.
that, yeah. So he's been releasing like the Danhausen figures, and I had the Ring of Honor Danhausen as well, from the Vault. I think that's what they call it, or
That's right.
yeah, the the Jazzwares Vault or whatever. Uh, I don't know. Jazzwares figures like they're a hit or a miss. I don't know why. Like the plastic feels weird for me.
It does. It feels really hollow,
Okay. Yes,
and
exactly.
and and they don't follow, especially on the females. They don't follow the trunks line. They just put a straight line straight across their abs sometimes,
Yeah,
or that's what they used to do. I haven't looked in a long time.
yeah. I'm not a big fan of their figures, right? Actually, like there's a few figures. Yeah, it feels hollow, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like I've noticed that about AEW, and I just feel like the feel is like it's kind of cheap. So like I didn't like it, so I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna just focus more on WWE stuff. So I've cut down a lot on Jazzwares. It's been a while since. Actually, that's not true. I did buy one not too long ago. Mostly the females I'll buy just because most of the males I already have anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm just like I don't need 12 different pentagons anymore. So I'm just like, all right, I'm good.
I will say I do keep up with Tony Storm,
Tony
Tony
Storm.
Storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that gimmick, I really like that gimmick too.
That gimmick is amazing for her. She did such a good
Yeah,
job with it.
and that jumps in my brain because they just showed, was it Ringside, the black and white
Yep.
version,
Yep.
Tony Storm?
It's a ringside exclusive, yeah.
Yeah, I may have to get that thing. Dang it.
I think I'll probably end up getting that one too. I mean, she did a really good job with the character though. Like
Oh,
she
yeah.
made that character her like that was her own. I know she's taking some time off now. She'll probably come back after like a month or two.
She's wrestling in Japan, right? Or she's doing some shows over there?
That I'm not sure of.
I,
I thought she was taking some time off just to kind
oh,
of.
maybe. Because I keep seeing promos pop up of her, and I could swear it was in Japan. Was
Oh.
where she was talking about, yeah, doing her thing. It was pretty cool. So maybe that was the older stuff that I had.
Yeah.
Again, I don't keep up with everything, but when I see like something of hers pop across YouTube knows what I like at this point. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
it's like, okay.
I mean, even
Here's
like I was a big fan of Sasha Banks when she was in WWE.
Mhm.
I've met Sasha in person. She was okay, not as nice as Paige was. Paige was really nice.
Yeah.
But you know, she was so good, and I liked her gimmick. You know, in WWE, she was a little sloppy when it came to wrestling wise, but I still liked her character. She's kind of doing a similar thing, but I haven't really watched a lot of her matches in AEW. Probably like one. I just get the highlights, and the highlights will just clip everything, right? So
Yeah. But
I
the
would like to
review of
see
the last-
more. Go ahead.
the review of the last pay-per-view, which was what, Friday or Saturday? Apparently,
I think Saturday,
her match
yeah.
was good. So
It was
I don't
really
know.
good. Yeah, I heard about that too, and I'm
Yeah.
hoping I'll be able to find it on YouTube. Just to again watch it. I heard it was a really good match. It was like the
Yeah.
fight of the night. I heard, yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Hi, this is awesome. I didn't know you were such a big wrestling fan. I could talk about wrestling for a long time.
I have forgotten more than I know or remember at this point, but yeah, I have my eras that are very because I had roommates and we didn't have cable or anything, but he would record Nitro and Raw. Well, we were all WCW for a long time, so he would record Nitro, and then we would watch it that night at the house, and then
that's awesome.
there was that slip over to Raw because Stone Cold and the Hawk and everybody.
Yep.
Like, okay.
It was a good channel flipping time. Yeah. I prefer WCW. Yep. Yeah, I prefer WCW over WWE, but the whole Austin Rock thing got me switching more, and eventually I liked them both. Yeah. Yeah. No, this was awesome. But I almost want to bring you back just to talk wrestling.
I can do that.
That would be fun. Just so we have a wrestling show.
Wrestling
we're not going to talk about we're not going to talk about action figures. We're going to talk about wrestling. It'll be fun.
Man, you're gonna make me have to keep up with stuff. Actually, watch some wrestling.
I mean, even talk about the old stuff. That's what I enjoy more anyway. I like the older stuff more.
Yeah, so, it's been a while. Like I said, YouTube shows me clips every now and then of older stuff. But is the WCW stuff on Peacock?
I have to. My buddy gave me his login. I have to go look. I don't know. I know, last time I went to Peacock and actually looked, I watched one of the old, what's it called, the Rey Mysterio documentary. A lot of that stuff is on there. I'm not sure. I'm assuming Nitros would still be there on Peacock. But I mean, in another month they're moving over to Netflix, and all that library is supposed to be going to Netflix. So.
Oh, I know the library was going too.
Well, I heard everything was going, the whole network.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, I don't know how that's going to work. Are they going to run Raw with no commercials, or
have them embedded in there? Or I mean, the whole Netflix contract is supposed to be big, so.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if we have anything local around here. I don't see it advertised or anything.
Okay.
But one of the more fun shows, I've been to a couple of AAW shows the past few years when they were starting up. I guess it was 2021 and 22. But the most fun show I've been to, where you can actually just was oh man, it was Pixelton versus Matt Cardona at but there were quite a few other local wrestlers at that show.
Was it GCW?
No, it was the local in Lincoln, Illinois.
Okay.
I think it was Illinois. It was Dan's local.
Okay.
Wrestling promotion, and Cardona was all over the place doing, well, he still does, but
yeah. I mean, Cardona. I think I heard Cardona was starting his own company as well, unless he already has one. That's what I heard. Someone told me that he was looking into starting his own. I know he does wrestle at GCW. As also, and he's a pretty big. He blew them up essentially. Yeah. With the matches, but they do a lot of hardcore style matches.
He's gotten a lot of eyes on a lot of promotions, small top things that.
I mean, he's always done a good job when he was not in WWE. It's so funny how that works.
Yeah. But again, his wife there.
Yeah. I mean, he created the internet championship and himself. That was his own baby that he would use on YouTube, and then WWE wanted to use it, and he brought it there. Yeah. It's just funny. Every time he makes a good name for himself in the indies, essentially on his own, and. He just, again, when other people who don't know what's going on, like Vince McMahon, I'm hoping Triple H will change the game. I watched WrestleMania, this past one, and it was really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And he seems to be, at least wrestler-wise, they talk about, they left because of Vince. they would
Yeah.
totally go back because of Triple H. You know,
Exactly.
now that so there does seem to be a lot better environment, at least.
Action Force is bringing the fight to cancer. In honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Valaverse has enlisted the Steel Brigade to lead this fight. This new female Steel Brigade action figure, clad in pink with the iconic breast cancer ribbon adorned on her vest, is available on Valaverse.com now. Valaverse has teamed up with the Gloria Gemma Breast Cancer Resource Foundation in Rhode Island for this special item. Proceeds from the Steel Brigade action figure will be shared with the Gloria Gemma Foundation. Every Steel Brigade you purchase will help with this great cause. You too can join the Action Force for this fight. Go get your Steel Brigade trooper now and help bring the fight to cancer. It's time for action.
CEO knows I'm a big wrestling fan, so he was at this Sports Business Journal like conference, and Triple H and what's his name, Khan, the president, what's his whatever his first name is. Huh?
Not Tony Khan, but
Not Tony Khan, but the
yeah.
president of WWE. Yeah,
Yeah.
he is a Khan as well.
Right.
They were actually, he sat up front. My CEO literally walked in, sat up front for their little panel, or like they had like a sit down panel and talked about WWE and like sales and marketing, and like he FaceTimed me, and like the whole time for like 25 minutes I was watching Triple H and Khan talk about
Really?
their plans for WWE, and I was like, this is so cool. like oh, like they want to go international. That's why you see a lot of they're actually saying we want WWE to be an international company now. So
Yeah.
this was around October of last year. I want to say October, November last year. So now you're seeing them doing pay-per-views in Europe. That's happening more frequent now, so that's huge. Like, that's a big thing, and I think they're working towards that goal of going international.
Yeah, because and some of a lot of those that have been overseas have been amazing to watch and easier to get
Yeah.
into because of how much the crowd is into it. It's
Exactly, but they
that's
don't
another
get
thing
it there.
Yeah, and that's another thing about going back to the WCW days. The crowd was always on their feet, throwing just signs and going crazy all the time. But then when I got back into it in 15, 16, 17, a lot of the shows would just be people sitting, watching. And I'm like, this, it's still good wrestling, but there's also some crowd interaction.
Yeah, the crowd interaction is probably like, yeah, it has changed a lot since the back in the day. I mean, like, it was more hype. You know, back in the day, it was like the 18. I would call it NWO era, Attitude Era was 18 years demographic. You know, the younger age. I think today it's more towards children, like kids. Who are going to be sitting down, and they'll probably kids are dragging their parents, and like the people like you and I, who watched wrestling as a child growing up, and now we're watching wrestling, but we can't stand the whole time. We got to sit down for a little while.
Oh, my knees are hurting.
Exactly. It's like, oh, my back. I'm tired of standing. Let me just sit down, and then like stand up again when a big move happens. Oh, look at that!
But I have two buddies that we went, and we still give him crap to this day. We were giving him crap about this last Friday night, but we went to Monday Nitro in Dallas back in the mid to late 90s, and on the way down, we were going to spend several days in Dallas, spend the weekend in Dallas, do Nitro, come home, and the one buddy was sick on the way down. He was feeling crappy, so he was out of it Saturday and Sunday. Well, guess who ended up sick on Monday, and guess who ended up feeling great for Nitro? So he got over it Monday. The two of us were sick that night, just sitting, and we were down on the floor. We were in folding chairs down by the ring, just like this. Oh, and he's jumping up and down, and he's having a good time. I don't remember the show whatsoever at all. So, yeah, my one chance to see Nitro, and I missed it.
Yeah, no, I've never been to a WCW any live. I've never been. My parents didn't want me to go to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, by then I was 22, 23, 24, so
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was younger, but
Yeah,
I just but, like my parents didn't like. They were like, "Why do you like wrestling so much?" And I was like, "I don't know. I enjoy it. Like it's like it's an action soap opera." Like,
Yeah.
why do you guys? I was like, why do you guys like watching Indian shows? They're so dramatic. Like, it's
That's
the same
right.
thing. It's the same thing.
Yeah. And the people that are like, wrestling's not real. Why do you watch that?
It's like, wait, you're telling me it's not real? Like, what? I would just make fun of him.
The Undertaker does not have supernatural powers? Are you telling me that
Exactly.
Lesnar does not control the snow coming down?
Wait a second. You're telling me Stone Cold doesn't beat his boss up like that on a regular basis?
Yeah. And not get fired?
Exactly.
But at the same time, anybody who says that needs to get pile drive or
Yeah,
suplex.
exactly.
Or
No, because
something.
like I've been in those wrestling rings and I've taken bumps. You
Yeah.
know, I've been in those ropes hurt. Like when you run off a rope and do like the bounce, that hurts
Yeah.
a lot.
Oh, I've never done it, but I never want to do it. I know I don't want to do it because
I've jumped off of the second turn, like the turnbuckle, and just landed on my back in the mat, and it hurt so bad.
Oh,
And like
yeah.
I have a lot of friends who are into wrestling, so like some were aspiring, like they were doing indie wrestling. So I've been in those rings from that, and experienced it, and it
Mhm.
is not fun. And I give kudos to wrestlers because I was like, I don't know how the hell you do this, but like that's a pain you just have to get used to. It's almost
Yeah.
like normal for a while, but those things hurt. Like and like I always tell people, like, listen, I get it, it's scripted, but you can't fake gravity. When someone
No.
jumps off of a ladder that's like 13, 14 feet in the air and lands on you, it hurts. Like,
Yeah.
like let me jump on you and you tell me how much it hurt or didn't hurt.
Yeah. And you even show some people that stuff, and it's like, well, they're faking. They know how to do that. Well, here, watch this Mick Foley match. And
Exactly.
Tell me, or this Hardy match. Do you think Jeff doing a swanton off? And I see people talking about that a lot lately.
Yeah.
That Jeff's gotten just real stiff about just flapjacking them, and it's funny. But at the same time, I don't want to be under it. No, no.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, like people have literally died in the ring. It's happened.
Yeah.
Owen Hart has died. There was a Mexican wrestler who had like something happen to him during a Rey Mysterio match in Mexico.
Yeah.
I think Rey Mysterio actually like did a 619 and hit him, and like something happened and like he passed away right
Yeah.
on the spot.
Didn't he have a heart attack or
It was something happened. I don't think it was
Yeah.
heart related. Something did happen to him though, but he was like 36 years old, like a young dude.
Could you imagine being in the ring and somebody just dying
Yeah.
right there? I mean,
I mean,
it's like,
no, I can't imagine that when just
Yeah.
standing next to someone, let alone being in a wrestling.
it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be anywhere.
Yeah, anyway, I can't imagine that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, people, oh, it's fake. I was like, yeah, no shit. Like, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. But at the same time, I call it every time somebody brings up, because I don't watch any kind of professional sports or any of that kind of stuff. I don't keep, when people are like, hey, did you watch the game? I'm like, what season is it? What is playing? Is it football? Is it basketball? What's going on right now?
Well, there's rumors
But-
that some of the football stuff is getting pre-scripted nowadays too.
Yeah.
So.
And that's what I say, and they don't like it, but I'm like, yeah, I only watched the last real sport. 'Cause, I mean, at least they go out there and they know they're hurting themselves. Or could
They
potentially
know what
hurt
they're doing.
themselves. Yeah, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing next week. So,
Yep, exactly. They know how are they going to fight, who are they going to fight, what they're going to do.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it. I totally get it.
Because I watched boxing last week, and I'm like, is there wrestling on? Can we watch something good?
I mean, did you see the Tyson fight?
Yeah, that's what I haven't watched. I don't know. I'm not sure if I've ever watched boxing much, but I watched that. I did like the women's fight before it. That was
I was gonna say the women's fight was the fight of the night. That was probably the
Yeah.
best fight. I was disappointed with the Tyson fight just because you could tell something was off. Like he
Yeah.
started off really strong, and then all of a sudden, granted, I mean, at least the parts I could watch because
yeah.
choppiness everywhere. But
Yeah.
like you could tell, like he definitely pulled punches where he backed off and he didn't hit him in certain places, and you're like, wait a second, what?
Yeah, because I also watched some of the lead up to it afterwards with Tyson sparring and Tyson punching at things, and I'm like, that guy's moving. I mean,
Exactly.
and then they're in the matches.
He slowed down all of a sudden.
Yeah,
Age
So-
became a factor.
and I don't know a lot about boxing, but the other woman should have won that fight. I mean,
Yeah, she had more punches that
Yeah.
connected to. Yeah,
yeah. So I don't know.
I
Give me rest.
you know, it's funny how that works, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was I think it was the referee, not the referee, but the judge's decision, right? So, I mean, MMA is like kind of similar in that way too. When it goes to judge's scorecard,
Really,
yeah,
I'm
it's just.
I'm never,
I mean, you know, honestly, it's all fake. All of it is scripted. The jig is up.
it's wherever they want the money to go, it's gonna go.
Exactly.
At least our sport doesn't try to hide,
It doesn't hide the fact that it knows it's scripted, but it's still gonna do it
Yeah.
anyway to tell you
Yeah, they lean even harder into it. So I
to
mean,
make you believe it's real.
yeah, I don't know. And then I saw Ish. He was set up beside One Oak Customs, right, at the
Yeah.
table.
Yep.
Yeah,
Hans
I-
is a good
I
dude
thought
too.
The Amazing was at IshCon, but man, that is what the weekend after San Diego Comic Con.
Last year or this year it was. I think he's changing the date for next year.
Oh,
It's
okay.
actually it's getting moved to May 17th, 18th, and 19th. For
dang,
next year.
hitting before. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And that, I want to say, where's that at?
Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina. It's in Durham, North Carolina.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I saw D, I think it was Big Dub that posted pictures, or D did,
Yeah.
or something. I was still recovering from St. Diego. I think I was in bed like, good God, they are at another show already? Jesus.
No, yeah,
So-
yeah, because Big Dub and D were there, yeah.
Yeah.
I that's the con I normally work. I work that
Yeah.
con to help Ish with it. So like that's why I'm actually wearing an IshCon shirt right now. You
thought
probably
I-
can't tell.
I thought I saw that logo a minute ago when you leaned back, or
Yeah, it's a IshCon logo. so
I think I am doing Toylanta, or maybe.
oh yeah,
I'm
so
on-
you'll be at Toylanta. Okay, yeah, I'll be there
Maybe.
too. Yeah, I
we'll
plan
see.
to
I
do
talked to Brett.
Toylanta. Yeah. Brett's a good guy too. Yeah, he's a really good guy. He's
Yeah.
very nice. Again, I really appreciate this. This was a lot of fun, actually. I haven't enjoyed talking about wrestling like this with another person in a long time. Because normally I don't talk about wrestling with other people.
No, I don't think Veebs. He is a fan of wrestling from before, like early days, like
Okay.
80s. Yeah,
80s. Okay.
yeah, and I get kind of lost there, except for the cartoon stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't think he even made it late 90s. I've showed him Hardy matches that are just like,
He's like, who are these
wait,
people?
who's this? But he buys all the Mattel stuff, and that Target's way better than his.
Yeah.
So,
No, I get that.
but yeah, other than that, I don't know anybody else that.
Well, so like I've been making a list, especially with like in the toy community. Like I have like my friend Brandon. He watched the Attitude Era, so me and him will talk wrestling. He'll send me links. I have another friend who's never on, like he doesn't like watching toy podcasts and stuff like that. But me and him go to shows together, like anything local. Like if there's a AEW, we went to the AEW shows together. We went to. I don't think I've been to a WWE show here. I went with my wife. My wife goes too, just because she supports me. Otherwise, she wouldn't.
Right,
go.
right.
But other than that, like, I don't talk to anyone else about wrestling really. So this was a
That's-
lot of fun. Like I
It's never
enjoyed
come
this.
up. And you're in North Carolina. I mean, so you've got some. I mean, how far is Charlotte?
It's about 2.5 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's not
So
too
that's.
bad. Yeah,
I mean, you could go.
yeah.
Does Ric Flair even live there? I mean, or is he just?
I think he lives in the outskirts somewhere.
Oh, does he?
I am pretty sure he does. I mean, Sergeant Slaughter lives like 45 minutes from my house. He
Oh,
lives
really?
like closer, like probably like 35 minutes, realistically speaking. Because I met him at Joe Lanta. He put me in the Cobra Clutch and all
Yeah.
that good stuff. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, we had to pay him to do that, but still.
You pay me to do my move on you.
Exactly. But it was so fun. It was nostalgic to see him, right? So I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But I know he's in North Carolina as well, and he lives nearby.
I've done a lot of shows. I have a buddy that does vending, like knickknacks at cons, and I helped him from 15 to 19 for 4 years. And at any convention, if we looked around and saw 2x4s about this long, Hacksaw was somewhere.
Hacksaw. I was going to say, ho!
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, Hacksaw was awesome too. And again,
Yeah.
I knew I think he was in WWF for the longest time in the 80s, but I knew
Yeah.
him as Hacksaw Jim Duggan in WCW. That's
Yeah.
how I was introduced to him because, like, as a kid, I started watching WCW before. I guess technically I was introduced to WWF first because the first ever wrestling match I know seeing as a kid was Ultimate Warrior. That's what got me interested, and then I saw Sting, and I was like, ooh, I like him better.
Well, it's
then-
crazy how they were. They
Yeah.
came up and yeah,
And they were a tag
They-
team together, yeah.
yeah, and they just went. "Zoop."
Exactly, two opposite directions, and both made a good name for themselves separately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would
oh.
still say Sting was probably more better career
Consistent.
choice and consistent, yeah. But Warrior
'Cause that-
was his own thing.
Because he showed up in WCW, didn't he? As the
He
rep
did.
or the I can't even remember his name now.
You mean
Warrior.
well, I don't think he did he come pre-Warrior days? That I don't know.
It was 90s. It was mid 90s. So
I know he came in during the NWO stuff. He was Warrior. That's all
Was
I
he
think
Warrior?
went by. Yeah, just Warrior.
yeah, just Warrior, not Ultimate.
Yeah.
Huh? He had the
Yeah.
trench coat on.
Yeah, the trench coat, the jeans, and the cowboy boots.
Yeah.
They're actually releasing that figure. That's coming out soon.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
it.
coming out soon. And like they already have the ultimate version of him
Yeah.
with the like it was One Warrior Nation, right? OWN, and it was reverse of NWO. That's what it was like supposed to be. So he called it the One Warrior Nation.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Actually.
I have like 3 of those figures, so I
One Warrior Nation.
yeah. No, I didn't. I thought that was the reason I didn't like it is because they just randomly brought him in, and it
Yeah.
was really just for Hogan to. I'm not a big fan of Hogan. I mean, I liked what he did, but I like as more I heard about his backstage issues and stuff like that, I became less of a fan. I think there were rumors that like he only brought him in to beat him.
Right.
Just because he never really beat Ultimate Warrior. So this is his way of kind of proving a point that I did it too.
Pretty much
But-
after the Sting thing, he didn't finish the story or whatever, is when Hogan, for me at least, went, all right,
Yeah.
this guy needs to go. He
Yeah.
needs to get out of the way.
And like the stuff with Vince Russo and Hogan, like that was a little bit real animosity as well because Hogan, Vince Russo called him out on like the crap he pulls, the politics he does. That's why like Jeff, he was supposed to wrestle Jeff Jarrett at one of those stupid pay-per-views. I think New Blood Rising or something. And Hogan or Jeff Jarrett walked in and just laid down in the ring. And then Hogan was like, what the hell? Like, this is why this company's in the shape it's in and blah, blah, blah. And that was actually Hogan's last time appearing on WCW.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to make that a shoot, but real stuff ended up happening. Like from Vince Russo, he came out and did a promo attacking Hogan, and then Hogan sued the company and all this other stuff.
Seems like I remember. Again, I think by that time I had kind of
checked out. Yeah, because it started getting really bad around that time. Yeah,
and and I think I was even kind of falling out of WWE or F or whatever it was at that time.
Yeah,
that was the end of
at that
too.
point. There was a clear winner.
yeah.
There was a clear winner, and the only thing cool and surprising they did was when Shane McMahon showed up in WCW.
Yeah,
and they talked about buying out and stuff like that, and I thought that was really cool. But no one knew what they were going to do after that until they did the whole invasion thing.
Yeah.
And
then it kind of just,
which the invasion thing sucked too, just because besides Booker T and like Scott, not even Scott Sanders, like DDP, you didn't really have any of the bigger names that were in WCW.
Yeah.
So, like, and then all the WWE Vince McMahon did was just destroy WCW.
Yeah.
They made DDP into a dude who's stalking the Undertaker's wife, and I'm just like, dude, have you seen his wife? Like his wife at the time was gorgeous. Like,
right?
Why? Like why? Like it made no sense. And then like Booker T was getting his butt kicked all the time, and it just
was did Jericho jump before the buyout? Or
Jericho left WCW when I think he was like right at his prime.
Oh, which makes sense because he was Y2J, and that was before the buyout.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, all the good wrestlers pretty much jumped, like Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko. The people who had a lot of talent wrestling-wise had already made that jump. It was just the other names, the younger guys and like the older guys.
And you mentioned Raven. That was another one of my favorites. I didn't know who he was before he was in WCW. So it was that splash of realism because I was a grunge teenager.
Okay.
I was a grunge guy at the end. So it was like, oh, my people is all wrestling. Sweet.
So Raven, that character was in WCW, or ECW.
Yeah. I didn't know that at the time. I'd never heard of ECW before then. So
that was a great character. He did a really good job.
Yes.
And I love the Ravens flock, all that stuff. I was a big fan of. Yeah.
And then the flock did eventually go kind of into NWO-ish with was it Van Hammer and who else joined?
Did Van Hammer join NWO?
No, not NWO. The Flock.
Oh,
that's when the Flock was kind of like.
You had Perry Saturn, Billy Kidman.
Yep.
Perry Saturn. I think there was a Loki. Yeah, Loki. He still goes by. He looks pretty much the same, just older. He goes by the same. Yeah, I saw him at an independent show like 2 years ago. Nice. Yeah. Who else was in there now? I just remember Billy Kidman, who became a star after that, and then Perry Saturn. I just loved he wore the dresses. That made him awesome. That just made him awesome.
Kidman's behind the scenes, isn't he, at WWE now?
I believe so, yeah. I think he is behind the scenes character, yeah. Or not even character, he's just behind the scenes guy. Production, or he does something.
Producer.
Maybe producer.
The Brutal Realm boys. The Brutal Boys. The Brutal Boys. Realm Toys. We're here with our action figure line that just got funded. We
join the club, the fight is on. Action figures shine like the break of dawn. Collectors gather around, any drink will do. Pick a fight club, we welcome you.
No, we'll definitely have another chat on wrestling, trust me. I think I want to do like a wrestling only. Maybe we'll keep it to like 3 people instead of like a big group of people. Just that way, I think it would be fun to do. And then we could even introduce, like, because you probably have a few wrestling figures, right?
Yeah, I have a couple here and there. Like I said, Hardy's, Fiends, and Danhausen's pretty much.
I have like 4 Danhausen figures too, like different ones. So I get it.
I did keep the ringside Danhausen close because that flap.
The flap that comes out.
So So, and plus he was in gray. I didn't need him loose, so I think I got this in a Walmart, backwoods, Missouri.
Yeah, I actually bought 2 of the 2-packs that he came with in that attire. He came with Hook.
Never mind. It was that set. I think I have. Oh, maybe. Oh no.
The Walmart
That's
one,
the I found.
yeah, with the all black, right? He had the top
Yeah.
too. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I found that one backwards and missed the sting apparently.
yeah.
Dang it.
You can still get the Supreme Sting though right now. Yeah, he's fairly easy. I mean, last time I went to, I don't really go to Walmart often, but
Yeah.
when I was at a Walmart, there was like 6 of them.
Oh, okay.
So he's not hard to find.
I haven't kept track of the wrestling stuff at
Yeah.
my Walmarts. It's pretty much, you go down the Transformers, Marvel, Turtles, Star Wars. So that's as far as I make it.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, I mean, I think one of my favorite figures that I recently, like, I'm really into the Ultimates. I like that line a lot, just because of the articulation on them. So recently, like, I actually made a Scott Steiner, WCW Scott Steiner, after when he became like the new leader, like main bad guy, with the World Championship. I used Kurt Angle's Ultimate body, and I swapped out the arms and the head, and he had the little trunks. If you take off the cloth trunks, he's got little red trunks underneath. So I was like, that's perfect. I just swapped out the boots and put black knee pads on. I got rid of the blue ones and put the black ones on, and then changed the boots. So he just had like the red shorts and like it looked like Big Papa Pump when he was a world champion. Then just gave him the big gold belt, and I was like, perfect. Like that's now the ultimate version of Big Papa Pump.
That was crazy. That because I was a big Steiner brothers.
Yeah, yeah. I was a huge. So they have figures too. They have the Scott Steiner. For some weird reason, they made it the WWE version of Scott Steiner, which I absolutely hated. But the dog-faced gremlin Rick Steiner figure is the WCW version, where not the one that he has like the wrestling gear.
Yeah.
But they did the one where he had like the bandana and like the leather jacket, and he came out like a bad guy. Yeah,
No kidding.
I think he did that during the NWO time a little bit. He had changed his look up, so
Yeah.
they have that figure out, and like the leather jacket, they had like the dogs that go here on the shoulders. Granted, the coat is horrible because it's all rubber, but I mean, if they made it into like a cloth goods, that would have been really cool, like soft goods, and then did the attachments. But that stuff will just you take that off and you just have a Rick Steiner on his own, like with the wrestling
Right.
gear. But they have the old school ones coming out too.
Okay.
The ringside ones that have the Memphis jackets and
Man, dang it.
minus the logo, minus the logo.
course.
But
Why is everyone that I want most ringside collectibles?
I mean, they're the first ones to get it, and they're like the biggest market right now
yeah.
with wrestling stuff. Yeah, wrestling stuff, they're all over it. They're probably the biggest retailer when it comes to wrestling.
I may have to pre-order that. I need a mullet, Scott, and because man, seeing him do the Frankensteiner and stuff, doing kind of flippy moves,
Yeah.
it's like, what the heck?
He was the originator of the Hurricane Rana because he's the one who came up with it.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
And then
for his size.
Yeah, and then the smaller guy was the one that, well, smaller comparatively speaking, was the one tossing people around in suplexes and stuff.
Exactly.
It was awesome. But I also like the Nasty Boys too.
I did too. Yeah.
They were
Nasty
nasty.
Boys were awesome. Yes, they were. 100%. I love the old school tag teams. They did such like even like do you remember Mosh and Thrasher, the Headbangers?
Yes. Wait. Yeah, I think so.
The bald guys who came up with they had the
Yeah.
skirts. Yeah. So Ringside, that was an exclusive too for Ringside. They just first time in the line they released Mosh and Thrasher. I have that set because as soon as I saw it I was like, I'm buying this. This is right
Well,
down my alley.
As soon as you said it, my brain went to, and I'm not even, what were their names? Older tag team. They'd come out doing the
Yeah.
uh,
Oh, bushwhackers.
bushwhackers.
Yeah.
I actually saw them local at at the fairgrounds
Oh, that's
back
cool.
in the
Okay.
day. But yeah, when you said that, my brain went to bushwhackers for some reason. But I don't remember. Did WCW have a lot of tag teams later on?
Later on, or like in the 90s?
Yeah, like when NWO hit, because I guess
I mean,
Hall
the
and
thing
Nash
is,
came in as a tag team, huh?
yeah, Hall and Nash were the main tag team after that. But I mean, like Scott Steiner and Buff Bagwell were together for a while. Scott Norton and Buff Bagwell. During that time, you had the Nasty Boys.
Yeah.
You had Legion of Doom were gone by then. Yeah, Legion of Doom were gone by then. Yeah, I mean, it was like Four Horsemen.
Oh, yeah. And then it was to go against them. They were always throwing people together, weren't they? Just
Yeah,
here's
just to
here's
fight
two
the
heroes.
NWO. Yeah,
Yeah,
just to fight the NWO. Yeah.
Luger and somebody.
We had Harlem Heat too. Harlem Heat was around for a while.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and they actually just had their figures come out like about like 2 months ago. So
Yeah.
you might still be able to find them, and that's Harlem Heat attire, like old school. So like Walmart has the Attitude line. They're the ones who carry the Attitude line. So anything in those 90 that NWO era, they're releasing those figures. That's where the Ultimate Warrior, the WCW one that's coming out with the jeans. That's all Attitude era
Right.
stuff. Yeah.
Did they not call him Rebel or something? Am I thinking
Rebel?
of somebody else? Yeah.
Are you thinking of a person who had a big R on their face?
Oh no, maybe.
That's Renegade.
Renegade.
So this is pre NWO. This is with Hulk Hogan though, but this is like I would say like man, Renegade was an older one too.
Yeah.
He was a ripoff of Ultimate Warrior.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, he was a ripoff of Ultimate Warrior. It was called the Renegade. He had a giant R on his face, and he was like one of the mega powers. When the Four Horsemen were battling Hulk Hogan, or like maybe it was like the Dungeon of Doom were battling Hulk Hogan, and then Macho Man helped out. Renegade came out to help too. But everyone saw him as a pure like you could tell that what they're trying to do, and it didn't work, and so the character never went over.
Yeah, because it's he looks. I mean, if you blink and look real quick.
Yeah, exactly. But he was
But-
just a lot shorter and not as good. Well, granted,
Yeah.
Warrior wasn't really good either, but he was just very different, and like it wasn't a good like how they did the fake Sting coming out of the limo and attacking Lex Luger. That was a really cool way of doing it. How they did like the fake Sting showing up at that was the introduction of the fake Sting, right, when he came out of the limo, and
Yeah.
and hit Lex Luger, and they were like, "Oh, Sting joined the NWO," and he's like, "It's not me." And this is all like before he turned into the Crow, right before he turned
Yeah.
into the Crow.
When he for a little while, right, and then
Yeah,
came back all Rudy.
yeah. Well, I think a month later, honestly, they had their pay-per-view, and then NWO won that pay-per-view. Then 2 weeks after, he turned into Crow Sting.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, dyed his hair dark, got a vulture.
yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. He dyed his hair, and he did the vulture thing for a little while, but I think more later on in. I don't think it was
Yeah.
right away, but he started showing up in the rafters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then he started dropping down until Owen.
Eventually, he eventually started dropping down. Actually, no, even after Owen, he was dropping down.
right? Was he?
Yeah, I just think he had to get Bret Hart's permission. Are you cool with me doing this? And they were like, yeah, just make sure it's done properly.
Because there was a couple times where he would just, I mean, he'd come down and it looked very like
Yeah.
moving. I'm not thrashing, nothing.
Yeah.
And he would pull that thing and it would come right loose. And I'd think,
Yep.
whoa. But then there was a couple times where he would,
Pull it and it's stuck, and it's stuck on him, and he has to fight with that stupid line attached. Yep.
yeah.
I mean, the thing is,
Oh.
like, I mean, I know, like, I think I saw a documentary about with Sting saying that they actually put it on him incorrectly, and
Oh,
like
yeah?
if he had actually jumped that night, like someone caught it like right at the end, like right before, and then they had to quickly change it. But if he had jumped, he probably would have fallen.
No, see, that's bull. And I would have been like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
I can
I
use
was like, I'm not
stairs.
doing this.
I'm good. Ramp.
Exactly. It's like I will walk through
Yeah.
the crowd and do this. I would not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you. This is crazy. I mean, like
Renegade.
today would be very different. Like
Yes.
today would be very different. You know, this is like '90s era, so they didn't care as much. But today it's very different.
Have we seen anybody drop? Well, AEW did it, right? Somebody?
I would say. I mean, I would imagine AEW would be. I know. I don't think WWE goes near it anymore. The
No.
dropping from the rafters after
No,
Owen
Michael-
Hart, yeah.
Michael's
Michaels did
zipline
the zip line. Was that?
Was that after?
That's what I'm trying to remember. Was that before or
Yeah.
after? I don't know. I really don't know. It was one of the WrestleManias, I thought.
But was he super high up, or was he just kind of coasting over? I'm
I think
trying
he
to
was.
remember
I
now.
think he wasn't super high up.
Yeah.
I don't think he was. I'm so like Figure Fight Club channel all started because of I wanted to do wrestling. That's literally how it went. Like this is around 2020.
Yeah.
2020. The idea was like I was gonna do a wrestling store, like action figures. Obviously not as big as Ringside, but it was gonna be like all wrestling oriented, wrestling memorabilia, like signed autographs or like figures, and I was gonna do interviews. Figure Fight Club was all about interviews as well with wrestlers. So if you actually go to look at like my videos, I guess they're not that like I didn't get crazy into it, but I interviewed like 2 female wrestlers, like indies. They were indie ones, but one of them turned out to be Layla Gray. She shows up in AEW now, and then one was Amber Nova, and then Just Incredible from ECW.
whoa.
Yeah, so his interview was awesome, and like I started getting more busy at work and not doing as much on YouTube. So I didn't post his interview like right after doing it, and it took like a year later. I was like, I should probably post this up, and I posted it, but like nothing came out of it. Like, but because I waited a year, but his interview was actually really good, and he talked about a lot of stuff that like you didn't hear from other people.
Oh,
Like so, which was really cool. Yeah, no, his interview was interesting. And then I had Bill DeMont, Hugh Morris. I don't remember if you remember him. I was already talking to him. Remember Glacier?
oh yeah.
I was like, I'm still connected with Glacier on Instagram, and me and him were chatting at the time. I just forgot all of it, man. I should have done it.
Hey guys, Dave Rana here. I'll be on Figure Fight Club December 27th, 9 p.m. Eastern. Be there. Let's get brutal. For the culture.
We take you backstage, exploring figures from modern day to the Stone Age. Join the club, the fight is on. Action figures shine like the breakup.
This is a lot of fun. We should definitely do it again. I'll find out. We'll find something after the holidays, and we'll figure something out. Yeah. And thank you again very much, Robo. This was awesome.
No, thanks for letting me on.
Yeah, this is fun. We'll definitely do it again. Take care.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Later.
Yeah. Bye.
As we wrap up tonight's fun, the figures and talk, so we've just begun. Join us next time for thrills anew. In the world of Figure Fight Club, it's all for you. Make sure to subscribe and smash that like button. See you next week on Figure Fight Club. Stay strutting. This isn't goodbye, it's just a see you later. In the meantime, go check out another creator. So keep your figures on display until we gather here someday. Remember the tales and the laughs we shared. Here at Figure Fight Club, you're treasured and cared.